how is that such a clear cut? Hey, sorry, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. You're rambling right now, and I can't listen because I don't want to. I wasn't done. I can't hear, dude. I'm sorry. I'm just not gonna let this happen.
Let Dylan finish. Okay, let Dylan finish and good logic response. Okay, go.
No, you can't just throw out that that's partisanship without.
What is partisanship? I mean, it is. If you tell me Biden's Hunter got two.
Let him answer. Let him answer.
Okay. One simple question for you.
Anyways, let's get on with the intros. Top left. You look like that guy. You look like that guy.
Yeah, I am that guy.
No. It's the other guy. I forgot his name. He was some Irish.
Mike Vrabel.
The dog, the one that made his dog do the Nazi salute. I forgot his name.
Count Dankula.
Yeah, you look like that motherfucker. But
yeah, I think I'm more handsome than that. That's kind of racist, but whatever. So my name's.
I want to second that. Yeah, the counterpoint is far more handsome than Count Dankula. What a horrible comparison, Qorantos.
Thank you. Anyways,
unbelievably blind.
So my name is Coder. I run a channel named Counterpoints, also a channel named Counterfire. Counterfire is where I post all the political stuff. Counterpoints 40K is where I post all the Warhammer stuff. If you're into Warhammer, science fiction, political, philosophy, nerd shit, then come check it out because we're doing pretty good. We're about to break 60,000 subs.
Okay, that's a W. I might have to start watching that shit. To the right, I don't want to be racist, man. I'm not gonna do that. Dylan Burns, please introduce yourself, please.
Wait, how are you gonna be racist?
Yeah, I was curious. I was gonna ask, but
yeah, they're white.
Also, wait, you're Qorantos. Why would you say I don't want to be racist? What happened?
I'm feeling sick today. I don't know. I'm a changed man. Let me be changed for just one fucking day. You know what I mean? Like, Dylan, please go ahead.
Oh, look at that. See, guys, this is why we project power, okay, across the world. All those aircraft carriers now float near the sky's countries. God, I'm singing a different tune, okay?
Listen. Stop baiting me to say some stupid shit, because I will. You know what I mean? I'll bite the fucking...
Now that he's in striking distance, he's moderated his position quite a bit. All right, sorry, go ahead.
My name's Dylan Burns. I'm a Twitch streamer and war journalist. I spend most of my time covering the war in Ukraine, but also other foreign affairs issues as well. If you could keep an eye out for a documentary I'm releasing in the near future called The Dangerous World of Artillerymen, I'd appreciate it.
All right, there we go. Thank you for the intro. To the right of Dylan and above Pisco, we got Fabian. Fabian Liberty Scott, please introduce yourself.
Hey, Qorantos, you can be as racist as you want to me. You know, black guy with a mask on, you all look the same to me. You know, the mask. I don't mean the skin color or anything. Yeah, I'm an anarcho-capitalist. That's find me Fabian Liberty everywhere if you want to discuss philosophy or debates or things of that. In that nature, I am kind of the final boss of libertarian philosophy taken to its extreme. And so, you know, if you're a right-winger questioning, come check me out. And if you're a left-winger, I'll probably fuck you up.
Oh, shit. Okay, thank you for the intro. Below Mr. Warhammer 40K and diagonal to Lil Steve, we got... Hold on. You look like Hunter Biden, bro. We got good logic, man. How are you? Please go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hunter Biden? Really? Really? You confused me with Hunter Biden?
Yes.
My name is Joe Neerman. I'm a New York attorney, New York litigator with a YouTube channel called Good Lawgic. I live stream nightly from 10 to midnight Eastern time, and I tend to cover law, politics, and philosophy. So that's basically what I do. I try to figure out why it is that our world is as screwed up as it is, and I don't really think it's really the left side or the right side, but I think that it's really a concerted effort from those who have power against those of us who don't, primarily. But that being said, people tend to associate me with being a little bit more right-leaning than left-leaning. And I've had my fair share of enjoyment debating with Pisco and Destiny, and I'm really looking forward to banging heads here. And really for the entertainment of it more than anything, and to maybe learn something. So there you
go. Great intro. Duction. Thank you very much. Thank you. To the right of Good Logic and below Lil Steve, we got, Loner. Yeah, we're already acquainted, you know what I mean? So, but like, to those that may not know, please go ahead and introduce yourself to them, please. Thank you. Now he's got on mute. There we go. Okay.
Hey, I'm Lonerbox. I'm live stream on YouTube and I make video essays sometimes. I'm the representative from the United Kingdom, Guardians of the Sea. Inshallah, these vessels will be granted safe passage. I love free maritime trade. Hey, Houthis. Simple as.
See, I was gonna say shout out to the Houthis, but like sometimes I go to the UAE, you know what I mean? So that's not a good business move on my end. I'm not gonna do that just to play it safe. But to the right of Lonerbox and below Dylan, diagonal to Fabian, and to the left of Pisco, I'd like to stretch these intros because hopefully the timer is running by now. Let's see. We got Lauren. Thank you.
Lauren, I am just a streamer and I'm on YouTube. I do mostly interviews. And yeah, and I also have an interest in the law and math.
Okay. Thank you for that intro. To the right of Lauren, we've got Pisco. Please introduce yourself.
Thanks so much, Qorantos. It's a pleasure to be on again. Really stoked to be discussing these issues. I'm Pisco. I'm a lawyer, also based out of New York. Been talking about the 2020 election and January 6th for a while now, and so really excited to discuss it a little further.
Great. It's great to have you back on. Hopefully it doesn't end the way it did last time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's always good to have you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't hold it against you or the showrunners.
Thank you. It's like I don't know who was pulling him in. It was a mess. Anyways, last but definitely not least, we got Radical Coder. Please introduce yourself. Take your time.
Hey, I'm Radical Coder, or Ryan. I've been watching all these people for a long time, so this is super surreal. I teach math in computer science and stuff like that, and sometimes I argue with people online, and that's what I'll be doing tonight about this, so sounds fun.
I think I may be allergic to my mask. That's why. I'm not sick. I'm allergic to some shit. Anyways, Steve. I told you my internet is acting up, so listen. You got the questions. You take it from here. Round one has started, ladies and gentlemen.
What is that? Is that supposed to mean I'm reading the questions off?
Okay, I don't know why you're acting fucking retarded. Like, you're fucking 40, you've been doing this half your life. I sent you the questions. Pick the ones that you like.
What the?
Start off
Oh
with
my God! I'm busy covering breaking news on Jeffrey Epstein and all my pedophile Democrat friends.
Okay,
Okay.
been dead for 5 years. Congratulations.
Oh my God! You kill people for fucking Muhammad. That dude's been dead for over 1,000 years. Okay, what the fuck do you want me to say? Okay. Wow. Oh, okay. Crazy question for the first one here. Ready? Crazy question, guys. Here we go.
Wait, stop. Before you do anything stupid, I literally sent you like fucking 20 questions.
Yeah, I see the first one. I'm ready to read number one.
First of all, it's only fucking numbered number one. It's not actually like, yo, start with it just because it's number one. That's first of all. Second of all, you've been fucking covering this for like way longer than I have.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good question. I'm just fucking with you. I'm just making you feel. Yeah, you're okay. It's all right. Take a deep breath. You okay?
Listen, don't take advantage of my fucking
He's got that
weakened
fucking
state.
face diaper on.
My God, yeah.
Okay,
listen.
Who said that? Fabian, you're on my dick. I think it was you. You're on my dick. Anyways, go ahead.
Okay, your mask's on a little too tight. Okay, take a deep breath as much as you can. All right.
It's gonna be okay.
Number one. Was January 6th an insurrection or a riot, and why?
January 6th was obviously an insurrection by every definition of that word. Happy to discuss it further, but if you look at the purpose of what that insurrection was for, it was to stop the transfer of power of the rightfully elected presidency of Joe Biden. We understand exactly the history and usage of the term insurrection, and that it wasn't meant to apply only to these like overwhelming coups that occur. If you look to history, to the Whiskey Rebellion, and to even the Civil War, which started basically based on the fact that the southern states did not accept the transfer of power to Abraham Lincoln, and the efforts to secede from the Union from there started basically for the same reason, a lack of content of the elections, of the results of a fair and free election. And so there should be no question here that January 6th was an insurrection. Anyone who wants to die on that hill.
Yeah, what's your definition?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I was going to ask
Yeah.
that because I actually looked up the definition of insurrection, and you type in definition of insurrection and you scroll down, and a comparable question is, what is the difference between rebellion and insurrection? And it gives the distinction.
Sedition, yeah.
And it says an insurrection is an armed rebellion. So were there guns that were used at January 6th by the protesters, Pisco?
The definition of insurrection does not depend on gun ownership. Do you agree with that, Lauren?
Well, so the definition is a violent
Can you answer that question?
uprising.
Do you agree? Does the definition of insurrection depend on the possession of guns? Yes.
You staked your claim. Give a positive.
Wait.
Don't grill people.
Well,
on
I'm
their
happy to give the positive.
definition.
I'm passive to give the positive.
Give your definition first.
Hang on. I'll give the positive definition, and then Lauren will answer that question. The positive
According
definition.
to this.
Hang on a second. I'm going to answer the question. The positive definition I'm using is from the Colorado Trial Court, which is as used in Section 3.
They gave like
the
5
Colorado.
and they didn't define.
No. The Colorado Trial Court gave a definition. Do you disagree with that, Fabian?
They gave multiple definitions.
Did you read the Colorado Trial Court opinion? Yes or no?
When it came out, and I mean, I'm not.
You read the trial. Okay, so do you know or do you not know whether they used 5 definitions or 1 definition?
Okay,
there are multiple definitions.
Do you know or not know, Fabian?
East Coast, spit it out. Let's go.
Okay, so then don't speak up. Don't speak up if you don't know. Fabian, don't speak up if you don't know. You don't know.
Did they give multiple definitions?
Fabian, let him get it out so we can actually move someplace.
The Colorado Trial Court did land on a definition. They did. It's a public use of force or threat of force by a group of people to hinder or prevent execution of the Constitution of the United States. That's
the Colorado Court embarrassed itself.
That's the Colorado Trial Court. The question for Lauren is, she's not going to go away from it. Do you think that the definition of insurrection requires the possession of guns? Yes or no?
Thank you for asking the question. Now let me answer it fully without interrupting me. So according to the Colorado Trial Court definition, even when you look it up, they admit it's a loosely defined approach to an insurrection. So there are many, many people who could disagree with the Colorado court and still be correct in their legal analysis. So the way that I see that it's defined, it seems to be distinctly different from rebellion by the use of armed forces.
What was my question?
I asked you to let me finish. So your question is about whether or not rebellion requires the use of arms.
Insurrection.
Insurrection requires the use of arms.
Guns.
So according to this, I said arms, and are you specifically saying guns? So like it can't be Molotov cocktails or like tanks or anything like that. I think you could use any weapon.
You said they didn't have guns, and I asked whether the definition of insurrection requires guns.
Well, wait.
They didn't use any weapons. Did any of the protesters use weapons?
If yes or no, will you answer that question?
I would say it requires weapons. Yeah.
Point to one single definition.
I just did.
Point to a single definition where the use of guns or the possession of guns is a required element of that definition. Can you cite a single definition?
Yeah, I just did.
I would like to interject by saying that the rioters did have zip ties, body armor, clubs, flags.
When did they use that?
Weapons from the cars.
When did they use that?
When did they use the zip ties and the body armor? Why the fuck are they bringing zip ties and body armor to the state capitol? Who were they going to zip tie?
Wait, they did. We have tons and tons. We have tons. We have tons and tons of footage on. Wait, we have tons and tons of footage online of these rioters using poles to hit police officers, of them using whatever they can get their hands on as a weapon. But I don't necessarily understand why that would even necessarily need to be an element. When we look at other countries, if a giant mob storms like the Capitol building and says, we are now the government, or attempts to stop the government from functioning, we call it insurrections there. Everybody talks about, for example, if you talk about the 2014 protests in Ukraine, people call it a coup for a reason.
Criminal convictions are not required either, Lawgic. That's a bad thing to bring up because, as you're aware, in the Civil Rights War, in the Civil War, there were millions of people who were involved in the Civil War, and the vast majority of insurrectionists in the Civil War were not charged with a crime. Agree or no?
Just because they weren't charged doesn't mean that they weren't capable of being charged.
So then criminal charges are not relevant.
No. Stop trying.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, stop trying to overtalk me. You claimed that I was. You claimed that I was introducing some false flag or something that's irrelevant, and you try to prove that by bringing up something that is a known as an established rebellion, to say that because people weren't charged there, that's how we know that just because we failed to convict anybody of an insurrection, that you have carte blanche to just label January 6th an insurrection, despite the fact that we saw that this DOJ
are criminal charges required. Yes or no? Just answer the question.
Stop talking for a second. Stop talking for a second. You
and Lauren will not answer questions.
I will answer this question, but you don't win an argument just trying to overtalk people, okay? It's childish.
You won't answer.
Let me finish. I will. You're still doing it. Stop. Okay. So, you can't bring an analogy from the Civil War, which was a declared revolution, and saying we're done with this country, to January 6th, where you're trying to say, is this an insurrection or not? Now, at the end of the day, we know that this is DOJ, which was trying to throw the book at every single person who was anywhere in the vicinity, so much so that now they're even trying to charge people, and they announced they're going to be looking into people who didn't even go into the building. They try, and they threw out the most harshest, strictest.
Are charges required for insurrection? Yes or no?
What does that mean? Are they required?
You brought up the evidence.
Wait. No,
Did you answer?
Our DOJ knows it wasn't an insurrection. If our DOJ thought it was an insurrection, like you Pisco,
you interrupted me saying that you're trying to introduce the legal language of insurrection. Wait, no. You introduced the legal language of insurrection in order to counter me when I was saying, when we talk about other countries, we see giant crowds storming Capitol buildings saying, we're going to stop this government. The laws will not be passed. We will not allow it. We call it insurrection there. Everybody says that when it comes to Ukraine in 2020. Everybody says that when it comes to other countries. Why does it not apply to us?
Why'd you bring up charges? Why are you dodging? Does it require charges? Wait, will you these people answer a question? Can we make them answer a question? Does it require charges? Yes or no? You made a claim.
What does that mean? An insurrection?
Well, you said that in contrast to me. I was trying to call it insurrection.
Wait. Okay, real quick. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay. When we're asking a question, here's how we're gonna run this. When somebody says something, answer this question, or even if they say like answer it yes or no, you have to give an immediate answer, but then you are going to be allowed time afterwards to explain the answer. Okay, so somebody says, do you need this for it to be some bullshit? You have to say yes or no, or in as many words, like very quickly say it, and then afterwards you can elaborate so that people don't get like railroaded, but it can't be a bunch of rambling. Okay, so
there's two questions on the floor. One is, are guns required for an insurrection as a definitional matter, and the other is, are charges required as a definitional matter?
You framed that question to me.
We don't have an answer on either of those yet. I'd like answers.
I answered it. You posed the first question to me. It was whether or not weapons or arms are required.
Guns. I'm talking about guns.
Why specifically guns? Okay, fine. Then
you
no.
said guns.
Then no.
Okay,
no.
So then
I did not say guns. I said any weapons. The protesters didn't use any weapons in order to get into the Capitol.
They did.
So, however, there is a distinction between a rebellion and an insurrection.
I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I saw them with weapons. They had weapons. I don't know what you're talking about.
Can I have a question?
You're talking about
I was
there on January 6th. They use bats and they use poles to hit on January 6th. Those are weapons.
And windows. They were smashing in windows or something. Like there was.
I've got a question. If you steal a riot shield from a cop and use it as a weapon, does that count as a weapon to you, Lauren?
You have to ask yourself.
Or taser.
Bring the weapon.
Whoa, fuck it.
Weapons are only AK-47.
Okay.
Baseball bat,
as far as I know, the first breach. I was finished asking my line of questions, bro. Come on.
Given space to elaborate and not be interrupted when we were in, I try to give I try to follow your instructions explicitly. I said yes, and then I wanted to elaborate, and I got immediately cut off. So there is a distinction between insurrection and rebellion. The distinction between insurrection and rebellion is that insurrection requires use of arms. So that answers your question, Pisco.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask. And Lauren, I wanted to ask.
Did they have arms or not on January 6th? Did they or not?
Some like for instance, Enrique they did not use arms on January 6th. No.
Okay, so is a bat an arm when used against police officers?
Okay.
I can tell you, like, that's how they treated it everywhere else.
I'll interject here from him.
For the state,
a little bit of.
I would say in this context, no.
Hold on, just for a second. Okay. So maybe Pisco, if you can calm down, and if everybody can answer your questions whilst you calm the fuck down, right? I think there's a little bit of a problem here.
Yes, and one quick problem is Radical Coder. I think you're using the wrong microphone. Everybody keeps saying that. Okay.
Yeah, I think it should be fixed now.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead, Fabian. Go back to Fabian. Go.
Better. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and I think Dylan inadvertently discovered this, and it kind of got trampled over because everyone was like yelling about questions, which is that there is a colloquial understanding of what we mean by insurrection, right? And then there are the lawyers here who and the people that are very interested in law, that I think their natural instinct was immediately to start talking about legal definitions. And I do think it's important that we might use the word insurrection to mean some form of rising up to stop a law. And it's an extremely vague and open-ended thing that you could apply to many, many things. You could apply it to Black Lives Matter protests. You could apply it to nearly any riot, for example, that is designed to stop some function, or that stops police from doing their job, et cetera, right? And then there is a legal definition of insurrection in the American vein, which is tied to the Civil War, designed to ensure that former Confederates don't hold political office. And when we get into like what insurrection is and how it differs from sedition, that's fine. We can talk about that, but I think it's important that maybe the lawyers remember that, to the audience and to a lot of other people, there's two kind of ways that we use this flying around and like immediately screaming about the legal nuances I think is becoming like unhelpful.
The reason that the attorneys are thinking that way is because it helps clear any vagueness. It helps the reason lawyers are taught in law school how to. So I don't understand.
Simply that. It's really not simply that. Fabian, you're correct. There is a difference between the colloquial usage of the term and the legal definition of the term. The problem is that the colloquial definition of the term has literally no definition. So there's no point.
Yes,
it's a silly question to try and analyze colloquially.
Can I ask a quick? Wait, can I ask a quick?
I'm almost done. And then my point is
just on that. Can I ask a quick thing about what you just said? Can I just ask a quick question about what you said? Okay, is there a legal definition for insurrection?
There has to be. The Constitution has.
I know the Constitution references it, but is there a legal definition for it?
There's no firm standard that has been put in as to when something rises to the level of insurrection on a legal basis. But there have been debates amongst different courts and different legal scholars as to at what point we get to a stage that this is now classified legally an insurrection. My point was that when, I'm not sure your name, Blue Shirt, I apologize, but when he's talking about saying, like, why are you introducing a legal perspective? It's because a colloquial perspective is always going to be 100% subjective. And if you don't like the fact that it happened, you're going to label an insurrection. And if you're not that bothered by the fact that it happened, you're going to say it's not insurrection. That's from a colloquial perspective. So the only thing left to debate is whether legal scholars would qualify this as being a legal insurrection. And that's why those of us who are more familiar with the law immediately went in that direction.
No, I'm not judging uprising against the state
so much. I'm not judging you for doing that.
Was it a violent uprising against the state?
There is a separation there, and that
yes, it was.
We should make that distinction known.
Thank you.
No, I don't think.
I'm glad you bring that up.
Was it a violent uprising against the state? We're saying it's not an insurrection.
Also, I'm sorry, I gotta interject one quick thing here. Hold on, I'm sorry, because the lawyers are treating the fuck out of me for months now. Hold on, wait. Also, okay, if you want to do the legal lawyer thing too, okay, if you want to say that you're citing a legal definition, you need to cite some part of the U.S. Code or some part of the Constitution, because it's not a legal definition unless you're actually citing some of the U.S. Code.
You could be citing
What do you mean?
courts, you could be citing case precedent, you could be citing, yeah.
Wait, that's fine. Yeah, okay, sure. You can wait. Hold on.
Take back what you just said.
That's embarrassingly wrong.
Stop. Or you can cite a prior case, okay? But right now, so what you just brought up, Lauren, I couldn't find that. I googled it. It looked like that came from Wikipedia. When you said that like an insurrection requires like weapons, is that what is like the case? Whatever. You guys should like refer to cases or refer to like the actual legal code or refer to some part of the Constitution. You have to refer to something in particular, okay? Whatever it is, I don't know what it has to be.
That's why I cited the Colorado trial court opinion. And
was it a peaceful uprising against the state?
I understand that you cited that, and that I think that's fair and I think that's good. But then when other people are arguing you about that citation, they need another citation. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're going to make legal appeals, like appeal to something, right? Yeah.
Logic.
I'm gonna
Fabian
agree.
and Lauren,
just in case anyone's still stuck about the thing with weapons as well. Like we know that like the leader of the Oath Keepers on the morning of January 6th was telling his members that you should, if you're going to bring a blade, make sure it's under 3 inches because over 3 is prohibited in DC publicly. And then also we know that the first breach of the Capitol building was literally a guy who stole a riot shield from an officer and used it to smash the window. Not to mention, even it was the deputy chief of staff for operations who went to Trump and said that that these people have weapons and they don't want them to be confiscated.
No, according to Lauren, they weren't armed.
I want to Pisco. Oh my God! All right, so I want to ask a question to Fabian, Logic, and Lauren. The question is, I asked, was it a violent uprising against the government, which is definitional colloquial insurrection? And if it wasn't, was it a peaceful uprising against the government?
Okay, so I would say that it's.
I'd like an answer to my question.
It was.
I would say it was not an uprising against the government.
Fiery, but mostly peaceful.
Oh, that was cute.
I would say it's not an uprising against the government, right? Because no one there they wanted to institute what they believed to be correct. At least if you're talking.
Was
about
that based off of a false premise?
No.
The Civil War rebellion.
Let's go. Stop interrupting me. Stop interrupting a question that was asked to me. I'll try and be brief. Okay, calm the fuck down. So I will say this: the closest definition that I can find to the time period, right? If we're going to try and understand the definition as it was written in 1868, doesn't say anything about armaments, right? That is not a requirement for insurrection. It is just and this is from Webster's 1828. If somebody has a closer time period definition, I'd be willing to accept that. But I would say that Webster's 1828 is going to be closer than
some from
our current definitions, right? And so it's if you have one and you want to pull it up and it says something about arms, let me know. But I haven't found anything that requires armaments, right? So I would say that that being said, I don't necessarily care whether or not it's insurrection or riot, but its terms as it's legally defined in the context of American law, I think that does, you know, like it's like when you see the Espionage Act used against Edward Snowden, it's like, sure, is it technically true? Yeah, but like it's. But like, should it exist? Is it moral? And also, is that the intent of the law in the first place to go after fucking NSA whistleblowers? I don't think it's meant to go after rioters that got out of control.
The technicalities matter
because of police that didn't do their fucking job and all of these other problems.
The technicalities matter here. And so first you started off by saying, well, it's not an insurrection because they genuinely thought they were doing the right thing. The Civil War people thought they were doing
I never said that. I never said that.
You said that they were instituting their vision of what was required or whatever.
No, I said that. I said the difference between a rebellion. Yeah. Okay. That's what happens when you talk.
Okay. So put aside rebellion. We're talking about insurrection. The question on the table is whether it was an insurrection. Your answer to that was no, as I thought I heard, and your rationale for that was
you started interrupting me. Again, I claimed it was by the 1828.
Okay, so it is an insurrection. So you agree that it's by the historical, and I agree with your approach to use the historical example. You agree that by the historical examples, it is an insurrection. So who else here doesn't think it was an insurrection using the historical example?
Well, okay, I don't think it's an insurrection because I don't think the people there were there, at least the vast majority of them were there in order to overthrow anything. The vast majority of them were walking through. So my issue is, like, a lot of the people there were there to listen to Trump speak. As Trump was speaking, well, he was talking about the electorates. He didn't think that they were done rightly. Yeah, he was talking about the 2020 election, and I understand that. A lot of them were there to listen to Trump speak. He was speaking, that's when the Capitol was attacked by a small minority of the people. Like
we're doing it by percentages, Lauren. So if 100 people heavily armed went into the Capitol to try to kill everyone there, would you say, well, it's 100 out of 80,000?
Just let me finish my thought process, if you don't mind. Yeah. So a lot of people. So once the Capitol was breached, however, Trump was still speaking, and then after he finished his speech, many people walked over to the Capitol because they were trying to protest, or at least let their voices be peacefully heard about the situation at hand. So when they arrived to the Capitol at this point, the vast majority of them saw people walking in and out of the Capitol. They saw police officers not preventing people, not arresting people. They were walking within the red velvet ropes. They weren't being violent. They were saying hi, taking pictures. So a huge portion of these people, they weren't there trying to overthrow anything. They didn't even mean to trespass. They weren't on notice that they were trespassing.
So I was walking towards the Capitol after the Trump speech, and while I was walking towards the Capitol, I was hearing in the crowd, hey, they've broken through the Capitol. They're going in. They're going through the police lines. They're storming the Capitol. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And I heard that from the crowd. Now that wasn't everyone, to be clear.
Did you see tens of
there were people. Well, let me finish a sentence. Okay, thank you. There were some people that were doing that. There were other people who were more confused. There were others that were arguing with other protesters saying, you don't beat up cops like that. These are different cops. These are DC establishment cops. These aren't back the blue cops. And they'd argue back and forth. But I would say then the question wouldn't be, did everybody engage in insurrection? Because not everyone was charged with sedition, not everybody was charged with violence, not everybody went into the Capitol. The question would be, who in the crowd did engage in sedition? Who in the crowd did engage in insurrection?
How many charges were there for?
But let's also be clear.
You were asked to give a blanket.
Of course we're back to charges.
You were asked to give a blanket.
But let's also be clear that none of this could have happened if the chemistry, the combination that Trump put out there with misinformation and disinformation around the election, this would have never happened if he didn't give them the fuel to make them angry. If what Trump said was right, they should have stormed the Capitol and done more than storm the Capitol. If what he said was correct about the election being stolen, because that means our democracy is dying. That's what makes Trump's lie so pernicious, and that's what makes Trump's lie so disgusting. I'm sorry, I can't hear. I'm sorry, I'm hearing rambling from my right side. I can't understand where it's coming from. Anyway, what was that?
Oh my goodness.
I said, how dare those pesky blacks complain? If those blacks had stopped complaining about George Floyd.
That is exactly what I said. Yes, that's what I said word for word. Thank you.
Actually murdered. You took
the words straight out of my mouth. Thank you very much.
Okay, remember, don't speak. Fabian, shut the fuck up when I'm talking, please. Guys, don't speak over each other. Mr. 40K, go ahead. You were raising your hand. Also,
Yeah,
by the
so
way, wrap it up because we're going to move on to the next topic. And also, I did say in the beginning that we're going to do eliminations, but then I thought about it. And then I realized if we eliminate the people that disagree with the majority, then we're just going to have an echo chamber. So for this episode, and we do these every once in a while, we're not going to eliminate anybody. But at the end, we are still going to pick.
And everybody comes to the same conclusions as Hippy Dippy, man.
By the way, winner gets $500 and a host. By the way, I forgot to mention that in the beginning. So there you go. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
40K.
Yeah,
I was the only one. I didn't weigh in yet. As to why it was not.
Okay, good Logic. You go after him. You'll go after him. You'll go after him.
Yeah, I'm gonna. So Fabian, do you think that there's an analogous difference between police brutality being real, police brutality being witnessed by the public, and then the public having a reaction to it, versus a small cadre of people basically making up bullshit, stacking bullshit on top of bullshit for months on end, and then conspiring with lawyers and people who are a part of the government in order to literally take over the government based off of information that they should know is false.
Keep going. Okay.
And have been informed is false.
Oh, no. What I'm gonna no. Stop talking. I was asked a question. I'll be very quick. I'm not going, that is such a loaded bullshit question. What I'm going to say is that if people believe that they have been wronged and they presumably have a right to speak up against, or they have a feeling or desire, and then some people take those ideas of being wronged and go too far, there's nothing disanalogous between Black Lives Matter protests when they threw Molotov cocktails and stormed the Capitol and May 20th, 2020, right? And they attacked police then, and they went past the barricades, and other people that happened to be larger, where it happened to get more out of control because they too felt wronged. This idea that you go,
except whether or not there was a fact of the matter at the
killed.
base that was true, whether or not there was something true at the core of their
it's
belief.
a bullshit comparison. It's a bullshit comparison. George
One
Floyd
is
wasn't
true,
all of these
one
people's
is false.
cousin, right? Like,
one is
wait,
true.
that's not the question, though.
Wait, the difference is
wait,
George
sorry.
Floyd was murdered, but the election wasn't stolen. That's
No,
the
he
difference.
wasn't. George Floyd was not
He was
murdered.
murdered.
Floyd
I'm
was
sorry.
murdered.
Maybe you should look at the coroner report. I don't know.
Okay.
Sorry, you're 3 years
I guess his
behind.
drug dealer murdered him. I guess that's one way of seeing
I didn't see his drug dealer choke him out on the floor.
Shit.
You also didn't watch the trial at all, Lauren.
I did
Otherwise,
watch
no
it.
difference.
I
Okay,
did watch
Lawrence.
You weren't paying attention.
Stop. You guys are deviating from the topic. Number one. Number two, good logic. Please go ahead, give your take, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. Thank you very much.
The reason it cannot be an insurrection, at least for the vast majority of people who were there, is because they were all under the impression that they were pushing their political leaders to act within the scope of their powers as political leaders. That was why when they say stop the steal, it wasn't of, oh, we're going to behead Nancy Pelosi and stop the steal that way. It's that we want our leaders to show the backbone and to use the powers that are afforded to them under the Constitution. And specifically in this case, we're talking about Mike Pence and the call for him to at least examine the slate of electors for the purposes of sending it back to the states. That was certainly what the objective was here. And their perspective was not we're committing a crime, not that we're overthrowing the government. It's that we are basically challenging our own political leaders to step up to the plate and fulfill their responsibility and fulfill their duties and their rights in order to ensure that the integrity of a vote which had a lot of shady issues behind it.
Just
and
a quick
that's why,
addendum to that.
why it cannot be an insurrection, because they're not trying to overthrow
there's no good faith.
They're trying.
I don't think. No, wait. I don't think you.
You can respond.
Okay.
Almost done. They're trying to ensure that the government is operating properly as they understood.
That's not an excuse.
That's not.
I would like a rebuttal.
Law. If they're not trying to break the law, that's not an insurrection by definition.
Civil War people didn't think that they were breaking the law. That's not an exception to doing an insurrection.
You're wrong.
I feel like all this is
There's no good faith exception to insurrection. You can't say, well, because I thought it was
full of garbage.
The rebels had their own.
On Fort Sumter, they know they're breaking the law. When they
At the front of every insurrection and coup, there are lawyers trying to pave the way.
The rebels all thought that they were legally justified. No one would ever say, "Oh, these poor little babies." I thought it was legal to go and trespass on your home. I thought it was legal. Let me finish. I thought it was legal to go assault you. I thought it was legal to go steal your saxophone. I thought it was legal, and so because I thought it was justified.
He's no let Logic.
Wait, Logic finished. I'm responding.
Not Pisco. You're explaining. You're coming from a completely different angle and pretending it's the same. When you and I should both know that that's completely false argument. Because what you're talking about is in the Civil War, where they use justification to break the law. I'm saying they were not using justification. Say, oh, we're allowed to break the law. Things could be bent here because there's justification. I'm saying that the vast majority of the people who are operating there, the people who went into the Capitol, the people who went to the speech, were all under the assumption and belief that they were acting consistent with what the Constitution allows. Not that we're breaking the law now, so we're firing on Fort Sumter, which is a completely ridiculous argument.
Their knowledge of the law. Hang on. Their
the ones who are fighting with cops for 2 hours. That's consistent with the law.
Yeah, and smashing windows.
Their knowledge or non-knowledge of the law is irrelevant to the question that we're assessing. And but by the way, you're just wrong about all the arguments for the Civil War and the secession. All of these people had theories that this pact was easily to be, like, you can break it and it was legal to do what they were doing. In fact, they viewed the attack from the northern people. No, there's no equivocation. What's the equivocation?
And firing on Fort Sumter.
Hang on a second.
I'm talking equivocating between firing on Fort Sumter and the right of secession.
So Fort Sumter, what do you think the rebels viewed Fort Sumter as? Fort Sumter was quote unquote federal occupation of part of South Carolina.
Southern territory. What the fuck?
Why do you think that you think they didn't have legal arguments to justify their attack on Fort Sumter? Hang on. Yeah. Their justification. Excuse me. Their justification was South Carolina was sovereign and the Confederacy was sovereign, and that the feds who were there weren't there appropriately or legitimately. That was their argument. And just so you know, even if it were
key word you keep using is justify. The key word you're using is justify.
They thought that the feds were illegitimate. They thought that the feds were legal, and there is absolutely zero good faith. Excuse me. There's no good faith exception that if you think what you're doing is legal, if you think what you're doing is proper, that first of all, no one thought that when they were breaking windows and hunting for politicians.
For a handful of people,
there is no exception.
And when they did that, and when
the people who walked over the broken glass,
can you be good faith for 2 seconds?
I just think it's such a ridiculous. It's such a ridiculous defense that this idea that, like, if you sincerely think your president is the lawful guy, you can't be guilty of an insurrection. Like maybe if it's the case that, like, even the defense that, like, Lauren was making of the people going through to the Capitol, like, yeah, we know that the Proud Boys did most of the fighting to begin with and broke down the barricades, but they deliberately broke the barricade. I'm still talking, you dickhead.
Yeah, let's let Lonerbox talk. He's actually
the barricades got broken down, and then they deliberately broke down barricades that linked Pennsylvania Avenue, the end of it, to the Capitol. So they knew, because they wanted to egg on people who arrived to go further in. But at the end of the day, like, maybe you don't think you're doing anything criminal, but if you're literally, like, walking past, like, broken barricades, there's fighting up ahead of you, you're like, oh, at what point is, like, oh, I'm just going to go past these broken windows, I'm trip over, like, another broken barricade, there's cops fighting in the corner, like, oh, maybe I am actually just, like, doing this in the service of the Constitution. I don't know if maybe in America, like, you can just, like, plead retardation, but, like,
it was a process of many hours, and not all of the debris was right. Like, if you have hundreds of people walking over something, debris tends to go to you're not probably going to notice that. If you're in a huge, large crowd of people and everybody's walking in the same direction, and they were walking in between the red ropes, you see the videos of these people just, like, walking around with their selfie sticks,
engaged in single combat.
Yeah, and I saw another video. Hold on.
Combat.
Pisco, you're dominating the anti-bullshit side, so I would like to fucking hit this. This is absolute fucking cope. Number one, there's nothing that says the vice president can unilaterally reject votes that have been certified by states. I very much doubt that you can find a single fucking shred of paper that fucking says that shit. And number two, you said that there's a video. There's a video.
But they thought he could, so it's fine.
You want to pull it up, and then you want to pull it up and read it to us. And then the second portion, hold on, there's a second argument. I will be happy to listen to you say it. And then the second portion of that is you're saying, oh, these are just, mostly peaceful protesters, and they walked over the debris and the debris was knocked over. I also watched a fucking video of a person on the other side staring down the barrel of a fucking Glock next to the Senate chambers, saying that we're going to get in there. You might as well give up now. And if we get in there and we got to hang some congressmen, then that's just what we need to do. Can we at least agree that one person was committing insurrection or had the intention to commit insurrection? Can we stop coping about that one person, maybe? Or are we just going to jump away from that?
Wait, specify again. Which person? The one who did what?
Whoever the fuck was holding a cell phone camera staring down the barrel of a fucking Glock.
What's his social security number? Go ahead.
I don't have the social.
Okay.
Do you have the social?
So it didn't happen, right? Good Logic. Are you denying it?
No. I don't know what he's describing. Is it the person with the Glock or the person with the cell phone?
The cell phone.
He clearly said the person being aimed at.
The law enforcement officer, I'll describe the scenario. The law enforcement officer has a pistol. It's the famous picture of the two guys who are standing behind barricaded stuff, pointing their guns outside of the window. There's human beings outside of the window in the door and all that kind of shit. They're videotaping themselves breaking into the Capitol. One of them says, you might as well give up. You might as well let us in. And if we're going to hang some fucking corrupt congressman, then we might as well do that. So do you think that that person, that one person, forget everybody else, forget the fucking 99,000 people out there, that one person had an intent to commit insurrection?
If they express an intent to kill someone, then I would agree with you. That person probably. I think it's fair to hang my.
So there's at least one insurrection that day, right? You would agree?
There's just no. You don't have multiple insurrections. It's either the entire thing is an insurrection or it's not. It's not. You have multiple. You can have one person who's trying to engage in insurrection.
I could expand this to probably a few other 100 or maybe even 1,000 people, but I appreciate you following me on my Logic trip.
The thing that gets me about this is a lot of, if you look at like historical insurrections, most of them don't start because one guy was like, okay, we're all getting together and we're all overthrowing at the same time. A lot of them start because they were in a crowd, they were angry about some issue, like the issue in question. And when you get in those crowds, you're basically like high when you get angry in one of those crowds and you're surrounded by people. It really takes you over. And it's not hard for me to imagine that a lot of the people went to the Capitol that day with no intention to storm the Capitol, no intention to fight police officers. Many of them are National Guardsmen. Some of them are former police officers themselves. Then they get in the crowd, they get angry, they hear people chanting, hang Mike Pence, and then they go to the front and start fighting with cops and storm the Capitol building. Those people, at that point, whether they intended to or not, were engaging in stopping the transfer of power from one president to the other. They were engaging in and intending to engage in insurrection.
And what I'm saying is,
name one?
the same way. I'm not.
Dylan said.
I just meant Dylan. Can Dylan name one?
Shaman.
Name one what?
You said a lot of them. You said a lot of them start with people showing up and they have no desire to commit any form of insurrection.
You're on my dog.
They have no
desire. What happened with Yanukovych, originally it was student protests during the nighttime after they tried to go back on their promises in the middle of the night. Student protests went to the Capitol. Then they got brutally beaten by the riot police. Riot police got super angry. Then it spiraled out into eventually the overthrow of the Yanukovych regime.
The Arab Spring as well.
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah.
Name five more, Dylan.
I just got a question. I'm just thinking, like, let's say it's only 200 people or 300 people, random number, just who want to commit the insurrection, and everyone else, thousands of people who end up into the restricted grounds, are just there because they're caught up in like mob mentality or like whatever, or they just don't know. Like, does it stop being an insurrection just because of that?
Of course not. This whole notion that like because the overall.
No, I want to ask the other people if that's all right.
I just think it's interesting that it's classified as an insurrection, but the majority of people were charged with trespassing. And then if you look at the people who were charged with insurrection, like Enrique Tarrio, he wasn't even. He was charged with conspiracy and sedition. Right? Sorry, that's what I meant.
Sedition, yeah.
He received the worst charges and I think 22 years, and he wasn't even there. He got charged for burning a BLM poster. I mean, it's actually quite wild.
That was so dishonest what you just did.
And the FBI had informants on the defense team.
Well,
that's not what I asked. That's not what I asked.
Everyone needs to understand the incredibly dishonest thing Lauren just did. Lauren, you are.
Was he in the Capitol building? Was Enrique in the Capitol building?
No, he was not. No, he was not.
Oh, so he wasn't in the Capitol building, but he got the poster. Oh, okay, interesting.
No, Pisco, let me just own this shit. Was Osama bin Laden on the fucking planes during 9/11?
Are you saying Enrique was the one who got all those thousands of people to go to the Capitol?
Look at the incredibly dishonest thing Lauren just did. Lauren just tried to conflate Enrique Tarrio's other. Wait.
People dishonest.
Wait a second. Can I talk? Mr. Don't interrupt me. Lauren just tried to conflate the separate criminal matter that Enrique Tarrio had at the moment, which was like him facing property.
Enrique Tarrio burnt the property of a local black church in DC.
You just tried to say that in the same sentence and pretend as though the conduct for which he was charged with seditious conspiracy related to the BLM property related offense that he had.
Was it not charged in the same case?
No, they're completely separate cases. You must know that, Lauren.
in the same trial, no?
You must know that.
I think that was a separate gun case, wasn't it? Didn't he also have a gun case for like
I'm
taking a
talking about
firearm
the
illegally?
the burning of the BLM poster and the
has nothing to do with the insurrection and the seditious conspiracy there. And for you to
They're
bring that
different
up,
charges, but
you either have no idea about his charges, or you're just like purposely doing this to try to pretend that the conduct related to the BLM stuff was at all related to the insurrection stuff. And then, of course, Connor's point, which is
why are you
pretending
about this?
that you have to be in the moment, in the place to do a crime. That's fucking stupid. No one thinks that way. No one thinks that way about Osama bin Laden. If someone ordered a hit on you, Lauren, or a hit on anyone you loved, you wouldn't be like, well, I guess he didn't do the killing.
Yeah, wasn't Tario part of that? Wasn't Tario was part of? Wasn't Tario part of that like Ministry of Defense? Like wasn't Tario?
funny that they weren't able to charge
He was part of that like Ministry of Defense group chat that he organized with the Proud Boys leaders to organize the attack, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's
the attack.
He's the one who's being
Have you read the
organizing.
indictment against Enrico Tario, Fabian? Yes or no?
No, I haven't read the whole indictment.
Do you know anything about his conduct?
I asked you a question. I asked you a question, and then your response to me asking you a question is, "Oh, you don't fucking know what you're talking about." Jesus Christ! So answer the question.
So you're just saying,
you say he planned the entire.
Enrico Tario didn't plan the whole thing. He didn't plan the whole. What are you talking about? He's being
if you can substantiate it, then just do.
No, Enrico Tario is not being charged as the person, the master puppet master that manipulated every single individual in the place, which
would make him a little different than 9/11.
But that's not that's not the standard for knowing if someone is either one engaged in insurrection.
Slightly less involved in this than Ray.
I don't know. I feel like the standard for 22 years in prison, where might be, I don't know, someone actually planning a terrorist attack. Of some kind.
Wait. Do you think planning an attack on the Capitol?
The point, though. The point was whether or not you have to be physically present in order to be a part of a crime. That was the only point being made.
I think that's the point you're trying to make as a means of subverting the fact that Lauren and a lot of other people are upset about the fact that there are double standards, or that the idea that the entire onus of this
lock up all the BLM people. I don't give a fuck. Get them all.
The entire onus of this conversation. The entire onus of this conversation is it a riot or is it an insurrection? And obviously we go down the legal definition of trying to determine that answer. But I think the reason that is a question that strikes at so many people is because so many people, especially on the right, feel that this January 6th thing is this massively overblown thing where the state apparatus has been turned against people in the most vicious way, giving them the most maximum sentences, and has targeted people that if it was any other form of protest or any other type of thing, they would not have this massive double standard.
You said it correctly. It's
that's
feels.
why
It's
people
100% feels. It's not based on the substance of the conduct alleged. And if you like,
of course it is.
Of course, that's what I said.
So it's all based on feels. The double standard accusations are nonsense.
I got a question for you, feels wise. Okay, since it's all feels, how do you feel it would happen if, I don't know, a BLM activist got 22 years in prison because he orchestrated a protest that turned violent, and then throughout the trial, America learned that the FBI had informants that were privy to the defense lawyers' case, were still embedded with the family.
Look at that shiftiness,
and we're possibly fishing their information.
Look at that shiftiness and
feels. How would that? How do you think?
Look at that.
There might be a double standard.
I'll answer that. So look at that shiftiness and dishonest. On the one hand,
that was dishonest.
So your comparison, right? You're trying to make an apples to apples comparison of Black Lives Matter if they engage in the same conduct and they plan a protest.
Dishonest?
No. What you're doing
it's a fucking thought experiment, dipshit.
No.
Answer it.
What's dishonest is your staging of the hypothetical for the BLM is they just planned a protest and, out of the head of Zeus, it just became violent as opposed to an active, purposeful.
Is it because every BLM?
Whoa, Disco.
Which is what occurred.
Okay.
Fuck off.
Disco,
the second dishonest.
One second. Disco, before you go any further, you admitted to me on the air in front of thousands of people that whatever level of insurrection someone's going to attribute to January 6th, what happened in Portland with attacking of the courthouses, what happened in Chaz in Washington State was clearly much more.
100%. Oh, wait. I did not say. I never said much
There
more.
were hundreds of charges in BLM riots.
So wait. I just want to answer that. I want to answer that.
January 6th.
So I 100% agree. I do not mind in the slightest saying that the erasure of the state and local governments in a certain place because of the occupation of the Chad zone is an insurrection. Easiest bullet to bite of my life. I do not say for a second that the attacks on courthouses wouldn't be insurrections. The hypothetical that Fabian presented was different than the real life insurrections that did in fact occur.
Can I answer Fabian? Can I answer Fabian?
Fabian's hypothetical was totally misleading.
I want to answer Fabian's hypothetical.
No, it's not. You fucking just called me dishonest and you can't.
Pisco is agreeing that it is an insurrection for what BLM done on multiple occasions with Chaz and also with blowing up the courthouse and on other occasions as well, attacking the White House. Then why is the FBI not using nearly the same resources to determine who was involved in those instances as they did put all hands on deck for J6 and fully targeted them? And conservatives sat with a year of essentially January 6th over January 6th, nothing getting done, only 300 charges over the course of a year, and then January 6th happens and over 1,000 conservatives are charged.
So wait, hold on. I just want to ask a quick question. I'm going to toss out the conservatives, okay? Fuck off, you, okay? I'm just curious because the BLM comparison is brought up a lot, okay? So for all the conservatives that bring up the BLM comparison, can you guys cite just one example of somebody that we know that was ahead of time planning any type of riot or attack or violence at a courthouse?
The Dallas shooter.
So again, when I said I brought up May,
wait, hold on. I just have a very specific question. If the answer is no, Fabian, are you about to give an example or no?
I'm giving an example of a specific protest, right? Not a specific person, but I'm going.
Okay, no, hold on. No.
A protest is not a protest. You're trying to force a gotcha.
No, I'm not. Hold on. Stop. No, stop. Fabian, you're not aware of it. Fabian.
Trying to force a gotcha.
I'm not trying to force a gotcha. The reason why I'm asking the question, I'm not. Jesus, just let me do this. I'm trying to make this nice for everybody, okay? Instead of eviscerating you like Peace Coder said, okay? The problem is you don't know the underlying facts of any of these cases. That's why your comparisons are bad. That's why I'm asking a very specific question. Because people.
Yes.
Stop. Come on. Let me ask the question. It's a very simple. If you don't have an answer. If you don't have an answer, just say, I don't have one. The question is there an example of a plotter or schemer, an individual that was planning a BLM riot in advance? That's the only question. If the answer is no, but you think, oh, that's a
bullshit question. It's a bullshit question.
Shooter, you stupid cunts. You're both stupid. The fucking Dallas shooter.
That's not a protest situation, right? So
he
they would just argue that that's just analogous.
No. I'm asking for the BLM protest.
Listen, yes,
he was a part of the BLM protest.
Listen. It's very simple. When January 6th happened, we only knew a couple of names. We knew Enrico Tarrio because the Proud Boys had their name. The FBI went full force. They went through every fucking Facebook. They put task force together to try and discover and learn who all of these people are. They put none of that power.
Keeping us safe. Keeping America safe
police
from
force
dangerous terrorists. That's what they were doing.
Investigating people that brought Molotov cocktails to that pre-planned violence that brought weapons that the only reason these weapons exist is to burn shit. Okay, and so the reason is that
you're going to compare May 30th. Are you about to compare May 30th?
January 6th, because we've had over and over and over again, we have had investigations and investigations.
Fabian, are you going to compare May 30th?
Okay, wait. Can we just?
Is that what you're doing?
Wait. May 30th. No, wait. We don't want to. I don't want to jump to another thing. So I'm just saying.
May 30th.
Okay, just because that was a simple question. Okay.
Can we just stop right here?
We're going to jump. We're going to do the whole May 30th.
So the comparison, the comparison Fabian is making. Fabian, are you aware that Donald Trump characterized the May 30th, what you're calling an insurrection, as no problem? Never a problem? No problem whatsoever?
I don't even like Trump.
Wait. Do you agree that he said that or not? Were you aware that he said that?
I don't remember what Donald Trump said about May 30th.
Donald Trump himself, so he was in the White House when this happened, right? The violence happened.
Yeah, when he downplayed it and got moved.
So he said there was never a problem, not a problem, no threat. You aware of that?
Why do I give a fuck about Donald Trump's narcissism and his bravado during
Are
the
you
attack.
surprised that the Department of Justice, which is under the executive branch, under the command and control of the Attorney General, who serves at the pleasure of the president, that when the president characterizes something as not a big deal, that it isn't investigated?
I love how they always
that surprise you?
The pleasure of the president.
Oh my God!
And,
I want
the
to
president
earnestly
is
answer
pulling the
Fabian's
fucking
question
strings.
from 10 fucking minutes ago. Please allow me to do so. I want to earnestly answer fucking Fabian's question. Okay.
Okay. Well, let me just answer
the question.
Super quick then. And
I
just
would
say,
like
it
to
doesn't
take the
fucking
floor
matter.
after
the
that.
double standard that the double standard that you have is like, oh, it's they serve under the pleasure of the
Why
president.
didn't Trump go after
And
them?
Of course they. Okay. Oh my fucking God. The same people.
You have an
Same
answer for that,
people.
Fabian? Stop floundering and answer.
The same administration, right, that was hounded legally from almost every three-letter agency in fucking existence during his entire presidency.
Go general.
Why didn't they?
Go general. Anything to talk about the specifics. Anything but talk about the specifics, right? You don't want to deal with it because it totally flies in the face of your narrative that these are comparable events. They're obviously not. They're obviously not.
You're utilizing Donald Trump's bravado in the fact that he said I was fine, everything's okay.
I don't want to go down another tangent.
Hey,
both
away
of y'all
from
shut
the
the fuck up. We've been dealing with your
Again.
autism all fucking night. Both of y'all shut the fuck up. I want to answer the question earnestly because I feel like it actually demonstrates something. Okay. Fabian, you asked if BLM had done something analogous to what we are accusing the January 6th people of doing, should they be infiltrated and prosecuted? As an example, I'm just going to describe it real quick. Well, okay, then repeat it for me because that's
real
what
quick,
I have down.
I said, what do you feel like the outrage would be from the American people if BLM had done something comparable to January 6th and one of the major planners, architects of whatever was occurring, they had FBI informants in their family that was privy to the defense team and was there for prayer meetings, etc. And we found that out and they went along with the case anyways and then sentenced them to 22 years.
Okay, I'm going to make it analogous.
Never being directly involved in the violence.
I'm gonna make it analogous, even though I don't think it's analogous. Okay, so if we discovered information that there were BLM leaders who were texting each other, Signal chats, Discord chats, text messages, whatever the fuck, emails, and they knew that they were going to coordinate and start a protest that would become a riot, and they were going to capitalize on that riot by causing property damage and hurting people. And by the way, this isn't fake. This is real. Like some of this shit kind of happened. I would be perfectly fucking happy with the judicial system taking any means necessary in order to investigate and prosecute those people. Now, before you interrupt or interject, hold on, one more thing. Okay, so I want to answer Destiny's question was there anyone who pre-planned violence on behalf of BLM? That might not have been the thrust of your question, but I just want to say the Dallas shooter was inspired by BLM-style rhetoric, and he murdered, if I remember correctly, 6 police officers as a result.
Okay, hold on. Can I just ask the question?
If there was a group text message, yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
sure, go ahead.
Are you talking about the shooting in 2016?
Yeah.
The BLM riots and everything were like 2020 onwards. I don't know what this.
Eric Garner.
That's additional.
He's not saying. He's not saying he planned. He's not saying he planned like a riot or anything. He's just this guy just like did a shooting. He planned that he would do a shooting.
Against violence on behalf of the ideology.
Okay, I know, but I don't. Hold on, I don't know. Wait, I'm just because for some reason conservatives never want to defend anything on J6. They say we can't defend that, so then they pivot to BLM. So
that's
all
not
I'm
true.
asking,
I want to finish the analogy.
I specifically defended January 6th. You know, you're mischaracterizing.
You defend January 6th?
I want to finish what the fuck I was saying, you fucking cucks. Please let me finish what the fuck I was saying.
Okay.
Hold on, Lawgic, I respect you. Thank you, fellow centrists. I love you like a brother.
Connor, go. Connor, you got to do it like Connor. 30 seconds. Go. Wrap it up. What do we got? Make the comparison.
So if there were text messages between leaders of BLM coordinating that attack, I would absolutely want law enforcement to investigate and prosecute that. Finally, was there a double standard? Yes, there was. Was there a double standard?
Yes,
there was, and it should have been
already in court.
I wouldn't give a fuck if the Dallas shooter had a family member who was FBI who was spying on him. I wouldn't give a flying fuck.
Right.
And then by the way, he got suicide bombed by a robot.
Giving a fuck about the Constitution.
Wait, informants is violating your rights?
Okay, please tell me the part of the Constitution that was violated by Enrique Tarrio having law enforcement members who were a part of his fucking whatever.
What's the constitutional violation there?
Tell me the constitutional violation.
So hold on. So you
answer that.
Okay, so let's go through. Do you have a
what's the constitutional violation, Fabian?
Oh my fucking god!
Even the spirit of it. I'll take the spirit, if not the letter.
All right, cool.
What's the
If the
spiritual violation?
Right? Yeah. The idea that you can have informants.
What was violated? What was violated?
Shut up.
The idea that you can have informants that are in someone's family while a trial is going on, could potentially stop attorney-client privilege and make it to where attorneys aren't aware that they're actually sharing their defense strategy and evidence and the arguments that they're going to use with the prosecution, because an paid informant is still in your family, is a giant fucking problem.
Wait, the informants.
If all that's true, then like maybe they should investigate that. Sounds like something to bring up in court. Like, but what does that change here?
First of all, there's tons of
22 years.
There's tons of Sixth Amendment precedent. You can find it about jailhouse informants, people who are after the initiation of formal proceedings against someone.
There's ongoing criminal
jailhouse confession is not the same thing as
but what you're talking about,
family that is getting information.
What you're talking about.
Wait, hold on, wait. Let me clarify. Hold on. Is Fabian complaining? Is your complaint that an attorney and a client are having a conversation, and that attorney-client privilege is being broken because the client decides to willingly share that information like a fucking retard with family members, and one of the family members might be an informant? Is that what the complaint is right now?
Wait, no, it would break the privilege anyway if you're,
Hold on, wait.
going to
If that's If I just want to be aware if that's complaint. If that's complaint, we're dropping this whole topic. That's the most retarded fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Not the most retarded fucking thing.
It is the most retarded fucking thing.
Wait,
There's
so
no
why are you
attorney-client privilege.
pitching? Yeah, you could absolutely have attorney-client privilege if you ask, like, if I'm a defendant and I have trusted people, and my attorney thinks that having these trusted people would help my defense. The attorney can talk to, if with your consent, specific people, but those people, no. You know this, it's not called the trusted person exception, but if you are a defendant and a third party is there, so for instance, if there's like a child with their parent, that's like the most common one, but even if you're an adult, like a over 18 person, and you have like a parent or a friend that is reliable.
You sure about that, Lauren?
This sounds like a skill issue, to be honest.
Yes.
This really sounds like a skill issue.
We have other on panel. Am I wrong?
So my understanding, and I was only just working on privilege log the whole weekend, that my understanding was that third-party communications, unless there's a common interest issue going on or there's a corporate situation going on, the common interest which is not applicable, like, oh, I trusted that guy, he was my friend, or is my brother.
No, if it's applicable to your legal defense, and these people seem to be like applicable because they were there. Like, I don't know exactly what
I can't wait for the mafia case where the mafioso's on the stand and he's like, but Slimy Jimmy was my friend. I don't know. How can he be a snitch?
I trusted him.
He was
this analogous.
No, if you needed Slimy Jimmy for your defense, and he was one of your witnesses, and he was somebody that your attorney and you were working with, and then you find out later that.
But that doesn't sound analogous.
If he's like an agent of the lawyers, if you're hiring
absolutely would be an issue.
But that's not what's being described, and also like
political.
What are you talking about?
This is not what people are talking about with informants. This is not what people are talking about informants. The people are talking about with informants. The people are talking about with
Proud Boys attorneys. Informant had contact with defense team and defendants. Like, this is a
for
problem.
The purpose of helping
when you have an FBI informant that they don't know about, and they're in direct contact with the defense team. Like, this is absolutely an issue. I'm not saying that in this that we have the details to know that this is like this specific violation, etc. What I'm saying is, because you asked about fifis and you said everything was fifis, I said, how do you think the American public would react if the shoe was on the other foot?
If
and the
law
media
enforcement were
found
going
out,
after criminals, yeah, I would feel very good about
saying, you
our Department of Justice. I feel very good about our Department of Justice going after criminals.
You're so bad.
Wait, can we ask a question? If the question's about putting the shoe on the other foot, let's put the shoe on the other foot. Let's say instead Trump actually won in 2020 and Joe Biden was like, nah, I didn't lose at all. In fact, we need to challenge in the courts. In fact, we need the vice president to overturn the results of the election. We need to do this. And then on the day of the election, or the day of the transfer of the power, Joe Biden supporters, after being falsely told that actually Sleepy Joe had triumph over all, stormed the United States Capitol with the intention of trying to stop the transfer of power of the vote. Do you think that administration would then go on to say, you know what? This is just a riot. Let's not go after these people.
Yeah,
Let's let them go. There's no deterrence that needs to be established here. There's no standard that needs to be established that we deter people from doing this in the future.
Have you seen the way Democrats storm into like conservative halls?
I'm asking. Could you answer my question? My question. Wait, no. I want Lauren specifically to answer my question because I think she could give me some good enlightenment. I do want her answer because she was Lauren. No, I just want to.
I think that they would brush it off.
You think Trump would have been like, okay, you guys can all go.
No.
You can all leave.
No. I think I disagree. I think Trump would absolutely use power to try and go after these people. And then what you would have is you would have every leftist, every fucking media organization in the country screaming fucking fascism is here. Fascism is here. The DOJ, they had people, informants planted in the case. Like you would be
and it'd be as stupid as when Republicans do it right now.
That's proof you're wrong.
I mean, if that happened, if someone tried to do that to Trump, he'd probably get like fucking martial law. Okay, I don't know.
Proof that you're all out of your minds, and that Lauren is correct on this, and that is the whole chant: "Lock her up, lock her up." How much and what happened with Hillary? Nothing. Trump doesn't that make Trump a fucking pussy? I'm still talking. And while everyone here on the left, and especially, believes that Trump is this crazy, vindictive, tyrant, fascist, Hitler wannabe, at the end of the day, you can't point to a single time that he was acting vindictively and using his DOJ to go after someone.
Oh yeah, I can. So Trump.
Doesn't that make him retarded?
Do you agree? Yes or no? That Trump specifically called on his Department of Justice to indict Joe Biden.
Doesn't that make him retarded? Oh my God!
Wait, hang on. Did he pressure them to do so? Did he pressure them to do so? Yes or no?
Thank God, Bill Barr. Despite video evidence of the guy saying I used $1 billion to blackmail the hell of taxpayer money to blackmail the hell out of getting rid of Shokin. Still, they didn't go after.
Back to that conspiracy theory. So good luck.
It's not conspiracy theory when the guy admits it on video.
It is. I mean, it is.
Shokin. That was. You know what? Joe Biden was.
Wait. Pisco, hold on. Wait. Pisco got ripped. Wait, hold on. Wait. Good luck. You have to answer Pisco's question. Why did Pisco asked? Did Trump make that request of the DOJ? And then you shifted it to, well, did the DOJ do it? That's not relevant, right? The question is, did he make the request?
That's what I say. Doesn't that make Trump retarded or incompetent?
No.
Did Trump call on the DOJ to indict Joe Biden in October of 2020? Yes or no?
Some members of the DOJ claim he did, and it's very possible.
No. He did it publicly. Agreed? Yes or no?
Oh, publicly. So publicly, like, are you going to say publicly? Is that like when he said, "Hey, Russia"?
That's when it's in public.
No. When he said what you call publicly.
I saw that. That was a joke.
Exactly.
No. In October, and this was tweeted at you, and I don't know why you haven't responded. He called for the Department of Justice and Bill Barr to indict Joe Biden. Yes or no? Do you condemn that?
I don't know that he means it seriously. I didn't see it. You tell me something. You're joking.
Isn't this kind of scary? Wait, can I not ask this? Is it not?
No way.
Is it not scary that you don't know when he's joking or not when talking about a democracy and threatening it?
Did they do it? Who did he seek vindication against?
Well, thankfully,
who did they go after? Tell me one, because I'll tell you.
Bill Barr, who you think is corrupt. Bill Barr, who you think is corrupt and lying to him, and it was a mistake to hire Bill Barr in the first place. Bill Barr and the Department of Justice did not interfere in our election by indicting the sitting president in October of 2020 on nothing, on bullshit. So I'm glad the Department of Justice, who I still think has credibility and who I don't think is this organization. What are you talking about? Good luck. I can hear you.
He was not the sitting president in October 2020. He wasn't.
I'm sorry. Donald Trump wasn't the sitting president in October 2020.
He was.
He didn't indict you said he didn't indict the sitting president in October 2020. That's the words you said, and I'm like,
okay. If I said that, I retract that. I meant the presidential candidate for the Democrats. If I said that, sorry.
Oh, okay. But, you mean the way Biden's DOJ is doing right now to Trump over and over again?
Well, Trump broke the law and Biden didn't.
Did he break the fucking law?
So that's
an important difference.
That matters. I'm just a lawyer.
That's a really fascinating thing because there's actually a book that says you commit 3 federal crimes every single day. You want to try and find some sort of ticky-tacky thing that you want to say that
Name a crime Joe Biden committed right now.
Well, Hunter should get fucked. We know Hunter should get
fucked. Wait. Answer the question. Name a crime that Joe Biden committed right now.
Treason.
Treason.
What?
The
Treason?
crime of treason.
I'll tell you right now.
Explain that one.
I had this whole conversation with you the other night. Okay, when the guy is helping his son present an illusion that Washington D.C. is for sale. I'll tell you, in my opinion, that's treasonous.
That's not.
treasonous.
Yeah, put that in court. It'll fail.
If you sell the notion that that Washington D.C. the vice president himself is able to be bought, then you sell that to Ukrainian oligarchs.
You sound unhinged. You sound unhinged. You're talking about
an argument. It's not an argument, Pisco, and you know it.
That's ad hominem. So I'll tell you could say I'll say you sound unhinged. It's the stupidest thing. You should be above that. You're an attorney, for Christ's sake. Now,
do we feel the same way? I'm just curious on that treason thing. Would you say the same exact thing about Kushner then, since the deals he cut were even larger than the ones that Hunter Biden cut?
the deals that he cut were the sale of property, not that he's getting paid $5 million a year for doing.
Trump is getting millions while he's in office for his private businesses from China.
Oh my God!
What are you talking about? Wait.
Kushner cut a $2 billion Saudi Arabian deal after being in charge of like Middle East peace negotiations for the entirety of Trump's.
When was that deal?
Wasn't it right after he left office? Right after Trump
was getting millions from China, yes or no, while he was in office?
No, he wasn't getting. He created a company, he established it, and then
is that him getting money?
Getting and earning are two separate things.
Wait, sorry. So when I make a company,
how fucking you pretend that that's the same thing as like a dude who doesn't speak Ukrainian has no idea what energy.
I just want to make sure
in any way, shape, or form, and it's getting near 6 figures a month.
Lauren, you agree? Lauren, you agree that Donald Trump? Lauren, you agree that Donald Trump was receiving millions of dollars?
You sound
I agree that Donald Trump had established businesses well prior to him ever running for office, thinking that he was going to run for office, that happened to be located not only in China, but in other parts of the world. And
that makes it okay? Wait. That makes it okay? If it's established, you can funnel tons of foreign money into your...
If we're going to compare and contrast between Donald Trump and Hunter Biden, who is receiving millions of dollars...
We're talking about Joe Biden's treason. We're talking about Joe Biden's treason.
No. We're talking about.
There's a lot of different corrupt things.
How are you not seeing this, Pisco? Are you?
Wait, Pisco, can we pick a lane here? Because you and I have I literally switched teams in the past 2 minutes. So like, can we pick a lane here?
Treason because he called his son. I don't know what to say.
I think Hunter should get giga-fucked. I don't think you would be able to prove Joe. But anyways, I just want to ask you a question.
I just want to stop right now. Hunter Biden is being prosecuted for tax felonies by the current Department of Justice under Joe Biden right now. And we are really making this comparison?
Which you argued about against me for about 6 months, saying it was all bullshit and smoke and mirrors.
Wait, hang on a second. I never said the tax charges against Joe Biden were bullshit. What we were arguing about was the evidence of a double standard or the Department of Justice playing favorites. What I know is that they're going after Hunter Biden and they're charging him with felonies.
Going after him so hard.
Speaking of which, hold on. So, speaking quickly to double standards on prosecution. I would love to talk to Destiny later about Acosta and Epstein and double standards on prosecution. Would love to talk about that. But anyways, so getting back to this, can I just get a principled stance from you, Pisco, on whether or not it's illegal or legal? Is it immoral or morally dubious to be raking in millions of dollars into your family while holding powerful public office? Can I get a simple answer on whether or not that's morally questionable, if not illegal?
Wait a minute. It's not Joe Biden's action. It's dubious from Hunter Biden's perspective for him to, while his father is the vice president and has some relationship to the ongoing negotiations with Ukraine, for him to take a seat in 2014 on Burisma, that and trading on your family name is always like unsavory, 100%. But we're talking about Joe Biden. Joe Biden does not control Hunter Biden. Joe Biden does not control James Biden.
It's cute.
They're separate.
It's
I never heard what the defense of Kushner was. Why is that different?
There is absolutely no defense of Kushner.
Because he actually,
I also just want to add,
I just want to services. It's wildly inappropriate for him to do it while he's in office, but he delivered goods and services.
Do you not think Kushner's actions before he left office matter? Like the fact that he literally fucking defended the crown prince after the murder of Khashoggi.
Argue this shit about Hunter all the time. They say Hunter, no big deal. He can funnel millions of dollars into the Biden family. No big deal. It's all gravy. It doesn't matter. He's not related to his dad.
That's not true. They just say it's only about his
private equity. Wait, what's Kushner's experience in private equity? Do you have any?
Well, he did some of the most amazingly successful negotiations in the Middle East and North Africa.
Wait, I asked
so he did pretty well.
I asked a specific question. Do you know of any history of Jared Kushner's private equity business acumen?
Have you watched any of Jared
Yes or no?
Kushner's
Do you know? You can say no, I don't
interviews?
know. I can say no, I don't know, or yes, I know, and this is
I can
why.
say no, I don't know, but have you heard him talk about the subject for extended periods of time?
About what? The Middle East or private equity?
About both. About
you're
getting
saying
private.
Kushner is providing value add. You're saying Kushner is providing value add above and beyond his name and what he did politically as an
crying out loud.
Wait, so Connor, you're saying Connor, you're saying there's no difference, right? With Kushner, so you think they're both condemnable, right? But I wanted to ask good logic. You seem to be saying that like what Hunter Biden or Biden did was treason, but why is it not for Kushner if he was literally like buttering up the Saudi crown prince after the murder of Khashoggi while he was in the White House? Yeah, while he was in the White House, yeah. Is that not selling out America?
Can I just remind everybody that Trump's first trip overseas is the first time it ever happened to Saudi Arabia.
Why is what Kushner did not selling out the United States for Saudi money?
Because there's a huge difference between selling something and selling nothing.
Wait. Let me ask you a question. Wait, no, stop for a second. Stop for a second. Wait. How do you know that? No, wait. How do you know that? Number one, Trump's first trip overseas was to Saudi Arabia. No American president ever done it. He was the first president to ever do that. Why? Also, he funneled tons and tons of weapons to the Saudis, which he then used in Yemen ruthlessly at a much higher rate than the Obama administration, and pursued policies that were favorable to the Saudis much more closely than the previous and the administration that came after him. So my question is to you, how do you know that he didn't give them anything when he gave them many things?
Okay, I can answer that. I can answer this geopolitically. They have 1/3 of the world's proven oil reserves in their geopolitical significance.
Connor, my point isn't that there's no significance of Saudi Arabia. My point is you cannot say, oh, it's impossible that all that money that went into his hotels, the $500,000 from the Saudis and the money after didn't have any impact. My only point is you just cannot say, I don't want to hear, no, the Shokin case, horribly corrupt. I mean, there was tons of reasons for Shokin to be fired. He was horribly corrupt. All of Europe wanted him corrupt. Most Ukrainian activists wanted him fired. Everybody wanted Shokin gone. And we can talk about that case, but how is that such a clear cut? Hey, sorry, I didn't hear it. I'm sorry, you're rambling right now, and I can't listen because I don't want to. I wasn't done. I can't hear, dude. I'm sorry. I'm just not gonna let this happen.
Let Dylan finish. Okay, let Dylan finish, then good logic response. Okay, go. Dylan, finish.
When it comes to the Shokin case, everybody in Europe want him fired. The Ukrainians want him fired. The Americans want him fired. Everybody except for Shokin's corrupt buddies wanted him fired. I have an explanation as to why that can happen. I don't know for sure any corruption went on there because I don't have any evidence of it. Now, I don't have any 100% evidence that the reason why Trump did any of those things was to, suck the hairs off the cock of the crown prince. I don't know that because he got money. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. What I am saying is you're very confident about the Shokin case, even though we don't have hard evidence, but very quick to dismiss the Trump case, even though we do have good reason to believe that he did favor the Saudis over other allies.
Also, heads up, we're going to let Good Logic and respond to that, and then we are done with the fucking Hunter Biden shit. I don't know how every single conversation about any related Republicans ends up with Hunter Biden. We're going back to the J6 stuff, okay?
Hey, man, it hasn't gotten to immigration yet, so
okay, hold on. So Good Logic respond to Dylan if he wants to, and then back to the line of question related to J6 stuff.
It is irrelevant whether or not every person on the planet wanted Shokin gone, whether every person in Washington wanted him gone. The point is that his son, who had zero qualifications and didn't even speak the freaking language, was getting paid millions of dollars by some of the most corrupt people on the planet. And the only possible explanation for that is, and this is what the left claims, is that they were buying the brand name, the Biden brand name. The only thing that could possibly mean is that they thought that they were having access to the White House. That's what the Biden brand name means. That's the only thing could possibly
mean. They were wrong.
And they may have been wrong. They may have been wrong. But I'm not done yet. You do your whole stupid childish blah, 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 like, and think that means you win an argument.
I'm with you.
My point is this, that when you go out there and help sell that notion, even if it's in Americans' interest, even if the left and right are both on the same side, that Shokin has to go, he's terrible. The fact is that he is selling to these corrupt people the idea.
Joe Biden did that?
Who cares? Okay, let him finish. We're not talking about Hunter for the first time. Let Good Logic finish. Stop sniping each other.
Helping his son sell the notion that if you give money to Hunter, that your wishes are what are going to dictate what Washington does. Even
you should
if
never call his son.
You know what? You're right. In the middle of 20 times,
never call your son.
Shut up. What a stupid thing to say, never call your son. You're trying to make it as if calling his son in the middle of a board meeting is something normal people do. That's something that's just so standard. It happens all the time in the business world. No, not in the middle of a freaking business meeting. Yeah, we know the guy is, he also said he doesn't know what business his son is in. And
he's the vice president of the United States. Of course he can call into any business meeting he fucking wants to.
That's a ridiculous perspective because the only reason that he's calling in there is to help sell that notion. He knows what his son is.
Who's calling who? Is Hunter calling Joe or is Joe calling to Hunter? Do you know?
It happened both ways. That's what Devin gives a fuck.
So Devin Archer also said there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever he was involved in any way.
What Washington wanted. It doesn't matter what was perfect.
All of that was lovely, but you didn't at all confront your double standard as to why Trump, you can just dismiss that, while the Shokin case, maybe it's true, maybe it isn't, but the Trump case, now that it's what why are you so aggressive about Shokin though, but not aggressive at all about Jared Kushner and the billions?
I will address that as well.
Okay.
Because there are two reasons that the situation with the Bidens are far more sus than the situation with Trump. The far more sus thing is the video of Trump of Biden admitting that he's basically blackmailing Ukraine into doing his bidding.
That was the correct thing to do, by the way.
Being based.
I just want to say that was the right thing to do, for the record.
And the second thing is Hunter selling his qualifications, which were Zippo, non-existent, for millions of dollars. To compare that to, like, well, there's a big business deal where where we saw Jared Kushner get billions of dollars for the sale of property is ludicrous.
You're leaving out a lot of information. You're leaving out a lot of information. Destiny.
Can I ask you? Wait, I know, but I just want hold on. Wait,
no, you're kidding. I know.
Hold on, but he said this over and over again. Okay, you keep saying selling property. What did Kushner get $2 billion for?
I think it was property rights on
the private equity deal.
No, wait, wasn't this just an investment? Wasn't it just money sent to the hedge fund that he?
Let me be clear. He got $2 billion from the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund after the board said we don't want to invest in this because this looks shady, and the Crown Prince overruled them to give the $2 billion
but
anyway.
Hold on, real quick, but the money was not for property, right? Why does it keep being said for property? I thought it was an investment fund. Yeah, it was a hedge fund. So when we keep saying it was given for nothing, I don't know why we keep
buying an interest in a hedge fund. I'm saying he could also
in a hedge fund.
It's property.
That's it out the next day also.
That's fine.
Why does the Crown Prince overrule?
That's fine. Number one. Wait. So it was an investment fund. Number one, not for property. I don't know.
I apologize.
That's okay. That's fine. Your apology accepted. That's fine.
I wasn't trying to mislabel or confuse anyone.
Okay, that's fine. But you made it sound like buying real estate. Yeah, he's buying something. That's correct. And we buy good. You're a lawyer. We buy goods and services, right? Lawyers sell something. It's not a physical thing, but it's a service, right? I hear this said so many times. Why is Hunter Biden on this board? Why is Hunter Biden on this board? Why blah 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 blah? Just because you don't have a direct link to the particular business that you're sitting on the board on, things like connections or things like being able to connect you to other people that might be relevant or interesting to you. These are valid reasons why. These are valid reasons to throw somebody on a board. Like 100%.
I concur. And Hunter had the most obvious connection in the world. That's what he sold.
Okay. So wait, let me. Okay.
And also, third question. I'm done. Third question. I know, and then I'll give it to him. Third question, then I'm done. Okay? Because you're saying this. Hunter Biden had the most obvious connection in the world. Hunter Biden is probably one of the most investigated private citizens in U.S. history. I don't know how many congressional hearings, how many FBI things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anything serious here? Is there a single smoking gun or anything relating to Hunter Biden, like illegitimately selling his father's business, or Joe Biden, more specifically, Joe Biden working with Hunter Biden in that? Is there anything that connects that? In all of the investigations, all the hearings, all the committees, all the
Logic says he doesn't need it. Good Logic says he doesn't need it.
No, wait, I'm just asking one question. I just want one thing.
I'll tell you what. I'll go off camera and Pisco will tell you what I'm going to say.
No, I will tell you because I've had this conversation with you and I know exactly what you're going to say.
Wait, then let him say. Let him answer. Let him answer. No, why did you say that? Let him answer. Just let him answer. He's right here. Yeah, what is the answer to that?
Logic, go ahead.
You ready?
Yes.
You ready? Right.
I'm lubed up.
Please give me your question.
Yeah, is there any actual evidence of Joe Biden working with Hunter Biden to like sell illegitimate business like interest or whatever? Because Hunter's been investigated so many times, questioned so many times, and so many committees, so many things. Like, is there any evidence of this?
The evidence that we, the public, are aware of are testimony from Tony Bobulinski, WhatsApp messages, referring 10% to the big guy, and Hunter Biden also saying, I'm not going to take a cut for you the way Pop does, and there also was this. There was also an FD 1023, which was basically saying that the money from the guy who paid it off. So yeah, there is evidence that ties Joe directly. Is it enough to convict him? I don't know. Probably.
You said it wasn't even enough to impeach him.
Wait, come on.
You said it wasn't even enough to impeach him.
I'll stand by what I said to you, Pisco, which is unless he's impeached and convicted, I do not think that he should face criminal prosecution because
that's about the immunity stuff, which you're bizarre, like former crimes.
Even though I think he's a terrible human being, he's very corrupt, and the guy has basically raped our country for his own personal welfare. But
you're accusing him of treason. Treason is a crime.
So he's impeached and convicted. The Constitution precludes him from being able to be charged with it.
Pisco, I'm gonna cut you off because I let Destiny keep interrupting me, and I let him go, but I never got to finish my points. So to be clear about the Jared Kushner money, Jared Kushner works in real estate, which is why you probably thought the money went into properties because of what he's known for. But the money he got wasn't for real estate. It wasn't for houses or anything. It was for an industry he has no experience in, and he got $2 billion for it. Now, I don't know if you've ever had $2 billion. I haven't had $2 billion. But if I had $2 billion, I wouldn't give it to somebody who doesn't have any experience in an industry for no good reason. Mind you, the money was from the Saudi Foreign Wealth Fund. So it's not like, oh, it was a Saudi businessman who owns a company in Saudi Arabia. This is Saudi Arabian money. This is Saudi Arabian government money that was given $2 billion of to Jared Kushner. After the board of the Sovereign Wealth Fund looked at Jared Kushner, looked at experience, he said, this is fucking stupid. We shouldn't give him a dime. He's going to piss our money down the drain. And then the Prince of the Saudi Arabia said, no, I'm overruling it. He gets the $2 billion anyway. I think that's suspicious. Now, I don't have evidence that Jared Kushner, he was given this $2 billion just because he's corrupt. I'm not finished. Was given this money just because he's corrupt. But what I am saying is that if you don't treat that with the same level of scrutiny you treat the Shokin case, that's partisanship, and that's the only explanation for it. Now, the second case, when we talk about the Shokin case...
I'll ask you, what? No, you can't just throw out that that's partisanship without
what is partisanship? I mean, it is. If you tell me Hunter got two...
Let him answer. Let him answer.
Okay. One simple question for you. What do you think that Jared Kushner corruptly did while he had access to Trump being in office?
He defended the crown prince after a fucking journalist was murdered.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not only the murder. Wait. Let me run through this stuff again, because like you're saying that because your line was Hunter Biden gets money, Joe Biden does the favors, because Hunter Biden doesn't have the power to do Ukraine anything. So the logic would be Jared Kushner gets the money, Trump does the favors from his position of power. What has Trump done for Saudi Arabia? Again, he was the first one to visit them. He dismissed any of the journalistic murders of Jamal Khashoggi. He gave them tons and tons and tons of weapons. He stood with them more than the previous administration and the administration that came afterwards when it came to the human rights abuses and what he was willing to look the other way with and enabling their actions. Again, I don't have evidence that these two things are connected. I don't have anything to bring them together. But if you look at this and you say, nah, man, I need to look at the Shokin case when there was a reason for Shokin to be fired and there wasn't a reason for Jared Kushner to get that $2 billion, I think that's bullshit.
Can I address this? Because I can actually address it intelligently. No, wait. Kushner also gave the crown prince...
Loner, stop. I want 40K to go. He's been raising his head for 10 minutes. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you kindly. So, Jared Kushner, I'm talking but specifically about the Abraham Accords and his interviews around the Abraham Accords. He's been criticized for his lack of credentials. He doesn't have the business experience. He doesn't have the negotiation experience or whatever. Just watch the motherfucker talk about the Abraham Accords. Talk about how they got Bahrain, talk about how they got Oman, talk about how they got Saudi to the table in order to talk about development in the West Bank, in order to try to incentivize every partner around Israel in order to normalize relations. Even look at what's happening right now where Palestine is getting giga-fucked and there's no major Arab or Muslim majority country right now that's trying to fuck Israel right now. This is all because of the past 5 to 10 years of negotiation between the United States and the Saudi government. What did Jared Kushner get the Saudis? He got them $110 billion arms deal that helped them deal with the conflict in Yemen with the Houthis, who are becoming everybody's problem. No. You can say fucking delusion. We could literally go watch a fucking
there's not a broader war. Are you giving Kushner responsibility for the fact that it hasn't broken up into a wider war, as opposed to the global dynamics between Iran and the Arab states and factors way out of control of Kushner?
Let me tell you what pisses me off about you. Pisses me off about your smug little fucking face is that you can go and read endless articles about how the Abraham Accords were actually one of the crowning achievements of the Trump presidency, and yet you dismiss it as a retarded fucking pipe dream of the fucking Trump family.
No. I am not. I am. First of all, I'm happy.
Who's the architect of the Abraham Accords? Which countries, you son of a bitch?
Which countries are involved in the Abraham Accords? Do you know? Which Arab countries?
Literally just pulled it up. I think it was like Bahrain, Oman, and fucking Saudi didn't sign, but they were still part of the talks.
Right. So what you're suggesting is if Kushner hadn't been involved, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, and Morocco and Sudan would have joined to attack Israel in this conflict with Gaza. Is that what you're suggesting?
That's exactly what they were gearing up to do.
They're probably holding their people back. Whenever you looked at the conflicts, like in Iraq or Syria, you had presidents and you had prime ministers encouraging people to go there in order to engage in holy jihad. I don't know about you, but all of the media that I've seen coming out of Saudi Arabia is actually challenging Hamas and saying, you fucked up. You brought this on yourself. You would not have seen that 20 years ago. And if you say that you would have seen that 20 years ago, you're fucking lying to my face.
Okay, so wait, let me like, can I put out an olive branch here? I want to give Jared Kushner some credit for this, but this also doesn't just go to Jared Kushner. There are other people in the Middle East who have been pushing for this stuff, like Brett McGurk, who's currently trying to find a solution to the Gaza, the Hamas-Israel war that includes Saudi Arabian normalization. So it isn't just Jared Kushner, but I do need to give them some credit, but I do also want to say that did not come with sacrifices, like us removing our recognition of the people of Western Sahara for them to have independence, to get Morocco to recognize Israel. We also had to give up some things, including respect for human rights and international law, in order to achieve that. And I don't think that was necessary.
Okay, well, pragmatism over fucking idealism. And then, okay, what I want to say, just because I want to extend an olive branch to my fucking lefty friends over here, is he got a $2 billion investment in his hedge fund, probably because he helped negotiate a $110 billion arms deal to Saudi Arabia in order to help them with the fucking Houthis, okay? I'm not saying it, but what I am saying is that it's wildly inappropriate for Jared Kushner to do the good that he did and then receive a $2 billion payout from the Saudi government. It's also wildly inappropriate for the son of the fucking vice president and the son of the now sitting president to collect millions of dollars for effectively being a lobbyist for foreign institutions. And y'all don't have shit to say about that.
We do.
Wait,
Connor, I'll say,
you're literally lying right now. We called Hunter Biden.
Fuck you.
You're literally lying right now. We said it was
lying about shit.
You are lying. You are lying.
I'm not lying about shit.
We literally.
If you say lying, I'm gonna say fuck you again. I'm not lying about shit.
Lying. You're a liar. I said that Hunter Biden.
Guys, relax.
Oh my God.
Hunter Biden.
Don't say
I criticized Hunter Biden.
Say misinformed if you want.
Okay, then you just forgot about the conversation we just had when you asked me, will you at least admit, is it unsavory will you at least admit? And I said, of course I'll admit that. So clearly you misremembered that when you asked me, right?
Let's French kiss under a bridge later, you fucking asshole.
Connor, did you forget that we just had that exchange?
Yes, but you and fucking Destiny
have been Wait, Connor.
So I have post-traumatic stress from you and Destiny gangbanging my asshole for 9 fucking months on this specific topic.
Connor, so you agree, would it be reasonable for me to think that like you were purposely doing it, or do you think that like I should intuit from that you had like the sudden forgetful lack of memory?
Your point.
Okay. Hold on. No. Okay. No. It's okay.
Belaboring this idea of like
I can see this.
Was bad.
I can concede this. Okay,
100%.
Pisco.
Let's go on.
I am emotionally. Hold on. I'll explain it. I'm emotionally traumatized from you and Destiny gangbanging me on Twitter and on stream about Hunter Biden. I'm very happy that you agree with me that it's at least immoral. I still have post-traumatic stress. If you want to get some wine and make out later, I'll ask the wife about it. Okay?
I will not defend.
My bad.
I will not defend because there's an appearance of a conflict of interest that it was even recognized by State Department contemporaneous emails. If you look at the emails that were released in FOIA requests and all that stuff, people are talking about it even then. So I don't agree. It's bad. It was a bad look. It was bad to do it. But we're talking about Joe Biden. And what Joe said was he committed treason by even calling his son during these, alleged calls in these business meetings. And he even goes further. He says, I wouldn't impeach him over it, but I'm willing to, on stream say that Joe Biden committed treason. How dare you?
Treason is strong. He's selling influence.
If there's not enough evidence to impeach him, Joe, if there's not enough evidence to
Not
impeach him
treason,
over
it's
it,
selling influence.
Joe, if there's not enough evidence in your mind, and you said to me there wasn't enough evidence to impeach Joe at the moment, how can you sit here and accuse him of treason, a crime punishable by death?
You asked me what crime I think he's committed. You didn't ask me what crime can he be proven to have committed, and I answered your question succinctly.
Fucking lawyer answer.
So what you're saying is, when you said that I think he committed treason, it's not based on any like standard of evidence. It's just you think.
No, that's not what I said.
Yes, it
What you
is.
see is that what a false way of framing it. It's like this is how you're so dependent to like false framing everything in order to try and feel like you're winning some sort of argument.
I have
It's
several
ridiculous.
attorneys that don't do it for that reason.
I want to zoom out. I want to zoom out.
You asked me a question and I answered it. Your question was, what crime do I believe he committed? Now, I'm sufficiently honest enough as an attorney to tell you that I don't think there's likely enough evidence right now to convict him. Certainly when you consider the fact that you would have to convince 2/3 of the Senate before you can charge him with a crime. And I don't think that there's enough there right now that you'll ever get 2/3 of the Senate to convict him on impeachment. So
why isn't there enough evidence? Why isn't
because you would need to have video of him walking out. You would need to walk out. You need to find video of him walking out with a suitcase that has $100 bills sticking out.
That's what you would need
in order to get 2/3 of this Senate to convict him.
Wait, but why is this? You said the appearance. You said the appearance of.
I want to zoom out because
you said the appearance. You said the appearance. You said the appearance.
40 minutes ago that we weren't.
You yourself said. You said you yourself
Yes.
said.
So like, I want to. So I do want to zoom out and kind of bring this back to January 6th a little bit.
Wait, Fabian, 1 second. Before you do that,
let Pisco rant and attack.
No. Pisco, you're doing great. Don't listen to all the naysayers, you know what I mean? Keep doing it, you know what I'm saying? But like, let me ask 40K and Good Logic and the rest of you guys discretion, right? So when it comes to Hunter Biden, do you believe that Hunter Biden is only being investigated due to public pressure?
Oh my God! Wait, are we really doing a Hunter Biden? We're really doing a full-on.
First of all. Stop. No, but first of all. You fucking midget. You don't have the right to fucking bitch about the questions at this fucking point, okay? 4 rounds in, I already told you, hey,
listen, the conversation was good. Here's the issue. Wait, okay, stop. Listen, hold on. This is the issue with like the. Here's the issue with the Hunter Biden stuff. I think this is the frustrating part, okay? And I could be wrong, okay? But I think I speak for every left-leaning person here when I say, do you think it was fair for an investigation into Hillary Clinton's private email server? Was that a fair investigation? I think every left-leaning person would say yes. Is it fair that Hillary Clinton had to answer questions, even on a public committee relating to Benghazi? I think every single person, every left-leaning person here would say yes. Was it fair even to have investigations into Hunter Biden and the stuff related to him and Joe Biden? I think every single person would probably say yes.
Absolutely
even if the launching point was kind of weird. Okay, maybe Radical Coder say no. Okay, I don't care. He's on his own. That's his far left guy. Sure, that's fine. Okay, right. All of us say yes. Okay. When we say, is it fair that even the did Merrick Garland appoint a special prosecutor for the Joe Biden classified document shit? Yeah. Okay. Even that. Yeah, sure, fine, okay.
Get to the fucking point.
Shut the fuck up. I'm doing this so we can skip all the Hunter Biden shit, okay?
No, we're not gonna skip it because
we are gonna skip it. We're all gonna skip it. No, we don't.
We're not gonna skip it. No, we're not gonna skip it because you said all the left-leaning people. I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to get what Good Logic and 40K have to say about it too.
Thank you. I'm saying we all agree that. But then as soon as you say something like, do you think that there was probably legitimate questions asked about Trump's campaign about like Russia collusion? It's like game over. Is there any conservative here that believes that was an okay investigation?
It was proven to be ridiculous.
There's literally
there you go. Okay, that's what I mean. So that's the issue. That's the issue.
No,
okay?
I gotta tell you. No, it's not the issue. That's not the issue. They spent 2.5 years to find that there was absolutely nothing when the entire thing was predicated upon a DNC.
I'm sorry, but Mueller's investigation. I'm sorry, but Mueller's investigation turned out how many credible indictments versus the Benghazi shit versus the Hillary email shit? Can you answer that question?
Listen.
Oh my God!
Exactly.
What were those indictments for?
Oh my goodness! Indictments
for Stephen.
What do you mean? What were the indictments? The indictments were proving a high level of Russian penetration into U.S. media. I think the indictments gave us a lot of insight into how some of the IRA, especially, and a lot of the social media accounts operated in the United States. How much did we learn relating to the Hillary Clinton email? How much did we learn?
21 indictments for Russian nationals that lived outside the United States. Wasn't the remaining 4, except for Paul Manafort, not related to his conduct during the
Trump years? How many credible indictments came from the Hillary Clinton email stuff?
Wasn't Paul?
How many credible indictments from the Hillary Clinton investigation? Counterpoints. How many credible indictments? Here's two really fun numbers. One is how many credible indictments came from the Hillary Clinton investigations? The Benghazi one and the emo one.
What do you call
Zero to my
Yeah.
knowledge.
How many times did Hillary
So
Clinton plead?
please,
Wait,
yeah, I
how many
wonder
times?
why.
How many times?
Wait,
How many times?
wait.
How
Whether or
many
not there
times?
should have been is a
How many
different
times?
question. Whether or
How
not
many
there should
times?
have
Don't
been.
care. Don't care about that. How many
Yeah.
times did Hillary Clinton plead the
I know
fifth
you don't
when
care
she was
about the
answering
shit.
questions relating to Benghazi or the email stuff?
0.
Okay, exactly. Okay, it's like it's not even. You guys are in another world. Sorry, continue
No,
on your shit.
listen to me. Listen. So I was trying to. I was
by
trying
the
to.
way.
7
hold on,
guilty
hold
pleas,
on.
by the way.
Queen Hillary.
So,
Fabian
He's
talk.
having indictments.
real
Better than no
quick,
indictments. Hey.
hold on. So, I mean, I'll set
Into the
aside the fact
marketplace
that
of ideas.
those two investigations are completely different scope with a much larger net. But
Hmm.
we'll set that aside. I find January 6th, Benghazi, Ukraine, Burisma, corruption, they all have a common thread philosophically that I find really interesting. When looking as like kind of an outsider towards conservatives, I'm not a centrist, right? I'm an anarchist, a right-leaning anarchist, right? And so when I look at these, what I notice is somewhere along the way, conservatives forgot that the reason they were limited government is because this is how all government functions. It doesn't matter if it's left-wing bias. It doesn't matter if it's a right-wing bias. And so what ends up happening is you have the left and the right having these like contentious debates about like, oh, Jared Kushner, he's actually one of the good
Okay, wait.
guys,
Do we
right?
need a
And then you
20-minute Fabian libertarian rant right now? How is this furthering any argument on any side?
It's not. It's not a thing. If you have another question you want to bring because you tried
Yeah,
to
I
pull
do
it
have another
away from
question.
it,
Can we go
you know,
back and
then go ahead and do that.
I think we should go
Let
back
me
to the
finish
very
my
beginning
point real
thing.
quick.
Yeah, we
Let me
know your
just
point.
finish my
All
point
government
real
is
quick.
corrupt and bad, and it should all be small. That's the point you're making. We understand. You're a libertarian.
Yeah, I understand that you have a limited understanding of libertarianism because you're too afraid to debate me one-on-one.
Yes.
And you always run.
I am true. That's why I'm running for
You're on the
this.
panel.
Absolutely correct.
Said that
He is
before.
right. You're correct. He is correct. I am afraid. I am too afraid to debate libertarianism. That is correct. Okay, and because of that, okay, we're gonna recenter on the January 6th stuff. Okay, which is what? Yes, because I'm afraid of debating libertarianism. It's way too hardcore for me. Okay, I don't have anywhere near enough time to memorize that many different age of consents. All right. Okay, so on the J6 stuff, you guys were arguing over the insurrection stuff, over the plotting stuff, over the BLM stuff. What was our agreement on? Did we ever even agree at the very opening of the show of what an insurrection is? Did we even agree with that? Do we have
There
an
was
agreement
one
that
person.
all of us?
I was the only one to propose the definition, and the reason is, and I'll give them
You're
an
not
opportunity.
the only one to propose the definition. I
Hang on,
proposed the
sir.
1828 Webster one, and then
No,
agreed with it.
but okay. Sorry, you're right, Fabian. I'm sorry, you're right. Fabian and I both agreed on the outcome. The reason why I think Lauren and Good Logic will not propose a definition is because anytime, if they propose a definition, we can attack that with a bunch of historical examples and show that it can't mean what they're saying, because if it did, it would disqualify things that were obviously considered to be insurrections.
The
by
definition
people-
that I gave you last time was from, where was it from?
Also, Lauren, your mic is popping a lot. I don't know why. There's like a.
Oh,
connection.
sorry.
the definition you
Yeah,
gave,
it's from
Lauren-
Oxford's English Dictionary.
Yeah. So that definition
Yeah,
is
and
broader than what the Colorado.
Is that
Dictionary
better?
did.
But yeah, it's from Oxford's English Dictionary.
Yeah, that definition that you gave us was broader than what the Colorado court used, right? So
No, it
if you're
wasn't.
using-
It's narrower.
yes, it was. Yes, it was. You were citing a definition, which I don't know. Like, you can cite a definition, and you haven't given a reason why we should use that definition. At the very least, the Colorado courts have gone through an analysis to like assess why this is.
So why do you want to use the Colorado definition?
Because
as the other definition?
they've cited contemporaneous dictionaries. They've cited, most importantly, I think, case examples of what were considered insurrection at the time. Any position that says those are irrelevant is the same as saying, like, we don't care what the framers of this amendment wanted. And we shouldn't even be involved in the inquiry, or this was only meant to apply to Confederates, when it clearly wasn't. They could have said, this applies to the late insurrectionists or the recent.
What case studies were they using? What?
The Whiskey
precedent?
Rebellion is an example that you all can't get away from, because this is obviously considered an insurrection by the people who framed that amendment. And so any definition of insurrection that you offer, if you care about the intent of the framers, needs to include.
Do you have
both-
evidence for that?
Yes,
Just
of
curious,
course.
do you have evidence that,
No.
when they use the term insurrection, they
It was referred to
were
as an
referring that the
insurrection.
whiskey.
It was referred to as an insurrection.
some people
contemporaneous
called
at
it
the
an
time.
insurrection at
It
the
was
time.
it was
Yeah,
known at it was known at the time. It was absolutely, there was no debate over whether it was it was the most prominent example of an insurrection at the time, because George Washington himself had to put it down.
At the time, the most prominent example would be the Civil War, because that's what
Pre-Civil War.
right. Yeah, I'm saying, do you have any evidence that the Whiskey Rebellion was in their minds when drafting this legislation using
100%,
the terminology of it.
Wait.
What
100%. Yeah, so they're referring to and they're using terminologies in the public meaning at the time, terms like insurrection, rebellion that were known to the framers at the time that to include some things.
You have
right?
evidence.
So
you're just
yes,
making a claim.
dude, I literally read the writing of the 14th fucking amendment, and there was literally a stipulation where one of the people was like, I don't want the definition to be so narrow that it exclusively applies to the Civil War. This needs to apply to rebellions now, and it needs to apply to rebellions and insurrections in the future as well. It's almost a direct quote from one of the authors of the 14th Amendment.
But again,
to get
his
to meaning
claim,
of text,
your claim,
to get to
do you
meaning
have
of
any
text,
evidence?
Yeah, so to get to meaning of text, right? What is standard practice for legal interpreters, for judges to do, is to use at the meaning of words at the time, right? There was, at the time of the enactment of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, you can look to what? You can look to public discussions, you can look to proffered definitions in dictionaries, and you can use like
every single definition includes an attempt to overthrow the government in one way or another. Every freaking one.
And do you not think there were people out there that felt that way and were attempting to do that?
There must be the mens rea intent.
There were people out there intending to do that.
There must be a mens rea intent.
There was at least one person who intended to do that.
Here's the thing, though.
At least one we all agreed on.
If 1% of a crowd has an intent that the rest doesn't have, to broadly refer to the entire thing as an insurrection.
But then we would say, wait, no. Let me answer the question first. Let me get it.
That's purposefully being thrown out for an agenda of trying to label the entire swath of everyone on the right.
Wait. I don't. You're being too broad here. If we both acknowledge though, if we both acknowledge that at least 1% of that crowd engaged in violence was attempting to engage in an insurrection, then how could we not say, for example, then 99% didn't engage in insurrection, but there was an insurrection amongst the 1%. That was an insurrection.
Exactly, 100%. Dylan's right.
That seems to be what you're arguing.
Of 20 people.
And
I'll tell you right now,
you can have you absolutely can have an insurrection of 20 people. There have been many insurrections of like 20, 30, 40, 50 people.
I have a specific question on this. If there is 1,000 people protesting and 100 people out there are rioting, are you not allowed to call it a riot because 900 of the people aren't participating in the riot?
This is from the crowd that told us it was all peaceful riots.
Wait, to be clear. Hold on, wait. To be clear, stop. Hold on. Wait, stop. Hold on. To be clear, when people said mostly peaceful protests, they meant most of the protests were peaceful. Not most of a protest was peaceful, and some of it was a riot. Right.
Actually, I had that question before anything happened. I had the question on what you're touching on right now. When they would say 95% of them are peaceful, I was like, does that mean that every one of them is fine for 95% of the time, and then they turn violent? Does that mean that out of every 100? Of them are crazy violent? It was very unclear. I'm hearing static now.
Wait, it wasn't unclear at all. My understanding is that online there was a database. My understanding is online there was a database where you could look at every single. There was like over 1,000 of like the BLM protests or whatever. Lauren, your mic is going crazy, right? There were like over 1,000 of these things, and they went through and they looked at how many people were like charged with like violent offenses or whatever, or for things like criminal breaking shit. What the fuck am I thinking of?
Breaking and entering,
like breaking shit or violence or whatever, right? And that's how they determine it. But
perfect standard. That's perfect standard, Destiny. So what percent?
So by the same logic, January 6th.
What percentage of the people were charged with insurrection? Those were
none of them. Wait. Stop. Wait.
Oh.
No, that's such an easy question. Good logic. So if you've got 1,000 people at a protest, and let's say that it turns into colloquially a riot, let's say that 50 of them are charged with acts of violence, but none of them get charged with rioting, the legal charge of riot. Would you say then that wasn't a riot if the actual rioting charge wasn't levied at any of the people that were arrested for it?
Depends on the nature of who's charging.
Okay, hold on. Wait. Just very narrow. That's great. That's a great answer. No, that's the fine answer. And I think even Pisco, for as much as he lauged, he would agree with you. That it probably does depend. Sure.
No, I would not agree with that. Just
okay, I don't care.
What he's saying is
no. Just a very narrow thing. Okay, so you agree then that whether you charge them with a riot or not probably isn't really relevant to what we would consider it to be a riot or not, right? Yeah. Like if there's a bunch of people and there's shit getting broken, bricks are thrown, buildings are being burned down, we would probably say even if I looked at that and I said like, oh my God, like what a riot, you wouldn't come up to me and go, oh really? Was a single person actually charged with the crime riot? And I go, well, look at these, like 100 people got charged with them.
You'd laugh at the leftists.
You would say exactly.
The reason that I raised this over an hour ago is because what we saw flow from January 6th is that the DOJ went after every single person as hard as possible. And despite the fact that they went as hard as possible, they still recognize that there is insufficient activity for this to be labeled a charge of insurrection against any single one of them. The first person who reportedly...
Is insurrection? Wait.
So that's why we come back to now. Now we come back
as a crime in Title 18, but there's no necessary overlap between the statutory elements of insurrection as a crime and insurrection as defined in Section 3, and also there are different burdens and different procedures required for a Section 3 application. Well, no, I'm not bullshitting.
No, you are, because now you're talking about now you're talking about Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, as opposed to was anyone charged under 2383 with it actually.
You're the one who's equivocating. You're the one who's conflating terms. What we're talking about.
I'm asking you, you want to label an insurrection. Why the hell were none of them charged with, not one of them charged with insurrection?
So because you're just repeating the same point over and over after not responding to the response.
So there is no connection.
The response was, if you have 50 people in the crowd, this was Destiny example, 50 people in the crowd out of 1,000, and they're going out and they're smashing windows, smashing things like rah socialism or whatever they want, and they smash and we look at that, we would all say that's a riot, but none of them get charged with rioting. They may be charged with trespassing, they may be charged with smashing. They can't get them on rioting. Does that mean a riot didn't occur?
Or they don't charge them because they don't charge them because
why would you think why not?
That is a decision that is totally in the wheelhouse of the prosecutors of January 6th, and it actually undermines your point. Wait. It undermines your point about that they were going as hard as possible on the Jan 6ers. They could be going for those other charges because those are easier to prove, and they have a ton of caseload, and they want to do the easy, like get them on the.
Desperate to have it labeled an insurrection. If they could have nailed one person's pride to the wall, it would have helped validate that empty perspective.
Hang on a second.
They still didn't bother with it because they knew they didn't have it.
No. So first of all, your incorrect assumption.
Don't you think? Look how desperate the left is to say insurrection, and yet these same prosecutors who are no less desperate never bothered charging a single person, the most violent person there, who I'll tell you right now should go to jail for their violence. I don't support any violence that was committed by anyone, left or right, at the Capitol. In fact, I don't support violence.
Real quick response.
Insurrection, no matter how much.
Joe, real quick response. Well, January 6th sedition.
I haven't looked up a definition of sedition. I don't know.
Wait, no. People were charged with sedition.
People were charged with sedition. That is true, and convicted.
Joe, people were charged with seditious conspiracy with January 6th sedition.
Okay, so therefore now you're switching. So
I'm using your logic.
I want to make sure.
You.
No. So now you're basically admitting it's not insurrection, but it was sedition.
I'm not admitting that.
Why is this like pulling teeth?
Why are you trying to
answer the question, Joe? Joe, answer the question. I know. You're going to do anything to avoid it.
I will not answer a question.
I know you won't.
I'm not going to.
I know you won't. It was both sedition and it was insurrection. I don't accept your framing.
That is false framing. If you just say I have to hold standard that you refuse to embrace.
Yo, both of you, stop fucking talking over each other. Holy shit.
Qorantos, make him answer. Make him answer. So
you invited lawyers.
Joe, if you have a question for me, I'll answer first. In fact, my response is I do not base my designation of this as an insurrection or sedition based on the particular charges under Title 18 that are being brought by the DOJ. However, your logic was, well, if they're not bringing insurrection charges, it can't be an insurrection. So I put that back at you and said, you would agree January 6th was the sedition, wouldn't you?
No.
Okay, let him answer.
The reason that's an inaccurate framing by you is because they can make up and charge him with anything if they wanted to, and they could probably, if you're in the right jurisdiction, they could probably get a conviction against anything. I'll tell you right now, when we were assessing, I don't want to branch into this right now. When we were assessing the federal charges against Trump, I told you what did I clearly express to you? I said the one he's probably most likely committed out of all the 91 charges was what happened in Florida, that he probably committed obstruction under technical reading.
Let's talk about what we're talking about.
The reason I'm bringing this up is this. I said, and yet I told you, I think that's where he's safest, because in that jurisdiction, they will never get a conviction against him. Because when you talk about what's a conviction, you have to look at the jury pool there and whether or not there's any chance that they're actually going to they'll be successful in getting conviction, or there's any chance of acquittal. When
it's very simple.
Washington, D.C., and I'm talking to you about Washington, Washington, D.C., and you talk to me about what charges you can raise, and I'm saying even in that completely friendly jurisdiction, I'm answering your question, in that completely friendly jurisdiction, they still didn't bother charging because they knew that that wouldn't stand scrutiny under analysis under the law, that they basically said, to hell with that, we're going to try and see if maybe we can get sedition to stick on them, and maybe they got it to stick. I don't know. And that
DOJ charges instructive or not in terms of defining what this is? Are they instructive or not?
Only to the extent they show us
that
what
it helps
DOD,
you. Only to the extent that it helps you. So when they don't charge insurrection, that's when you cite it.
And of course, that's logical considering who the DOJ is.
Okay, so then why are you appealing to the DOJ? Why are you appealing?
If I make a statement against my own interest, that is admissible in court. If I make a statement against you, that's not admissible in court.
Okay, so your position is.
Let me finish my point, because you don't guess my position when I can just tell it to you.
Okay.
And my position is this, that the charges that are made by the district attorney of DC are a statement about their position on things, which their position is necessarily going to be hostile to Donald Trump. So when they charge him with something, that means that's what they're hopeful that they can get him on. But it's an admission against their own interest. It's a tacit admission against their own interest that they recognize there's no insurrection when they don't even bother making the claim. So yes, you're trying to frame it as if I'm talking like some lawyer speak here, when I'm simply analyzing logically rather than trying to sit here and come up with how can I try to attack and win an argument. I'm just trying to analyze logically.
Desperate. What you're saying is
the district attorney, and that they're necessarily hostile to these J6 defendants and to Trump, that if they don't bother charging it, that means they know they don't have it. And if they do charge it, that doesn't mean it's accurate, or that even if they get a conviction, that in that environment, based on everything else I said about my position,
we get a definition?
You're making it sound like it doesn't matter whatsoever in determining if it's an insurrection or not. If they did charge him with insurrection, you'd say, fuck it, it's bullshit anyway. If they didn't, then you'd be like, 100%. Well, that proves it isn't an insurrection.
100%.
I understand you're a simple man, so I'll try to explain this to you one more time.
Oh, a simple man. What law school did you go to? University of Phoenix?
What I'm saying is, there's such a thing as admission against your own interest. Do you understand the concept that if you admit something to me about that's negative to your interest, that's far more powerful than if you make a claim against me? When the district attorney fails to raise charges against any of these J6 defendants, that is an admission against their interest.
You admitted the game like long ago. You made a situation where if they charge him with insurrection, you'd be like, well, that's the DC court. They're biased. They're going after Trump. They're going after the rest of these guys. If they don't charge him with insurrection, then it's, well, that shows that they don't have it. There was no insurrection, they haven't charged, when it could be because it's easier to get them on the other charges.
It's way simpler than this. It's way simpler than this.
I'm consistent because I admit that if in fact Donald Trump is acquitted in Florida, that's not a sign that he's not guilty. My point is that we cannot ignore the partisanship in any of these localities, whether it's anti-Trump.
But then the charges don't matter in determining if it's insurrection or not. If it's inherently partisan.
Really good question. Just a good logic to flesh that out. Real quick, a really quick question to flesh that out. So then you admit then also that if the DOJ wasn't willing to charge Hillary Clinton or Hunter Biden or any of these other people, that they also must not have had any cases, so they weren't willing to charge it, even when it was under Trump's administration?
Oh, because it's a left-wing court.
Wait, no, wait. I want to hear an answer to that. Yeah, go ahead.
Only if you start with the presupposition that the DOJ was hostile to Hillary Clinton. Which it could be. It could be.
They did this burdensome investigation.
Hold on. This goes up. I'm literally gonna back you up here, which I fucking hate doing. Okay, but this is why you bring a libertarian on, because I will at some point in time shit on all of you. And the thing is that like it only takes one case for them to lose, where they charge someone with insurrection because the defense had a good enough case to prove that like it was too vague or that this wasn't appropriate, et cetera, et cetera. They only need to lose one case where they charge insurrection, and then every right-winger from across the fucking country will be like, see, they couldn't prove insurrection, so how dare you use that fucking term? As much as I think that there's this DOJ is obviously extremely fucking biased against Trump. But why? Because he's a fucking populist, and they did this. The same fucking elites that went after Donald Trump are the same fucking people that went after Bernie Sanders. When people start fucking getting together and start saying that like that the poor fucking matter, that the downtrodden fucking matter, that the masses are better than the fucking elite, they crush these people. And sometimes you have, when these people play politics, they're fucking thinking ahead. It's silly to say that it is an actual argument in that regard.
Two other quick legal questions. Legal questions, because I asked this earlier about like, is insurrection a crime? Okay, so we have the 18 USC 2383. Okay, what they use insurrection in the crime of like whoever does an insurrection, is somebody engaging in an insurrection. Has anybody ever been charged under USC 2383 ever?
I think so.
I
Also, don't you largely charge what you can prove?
Yeah, but also the question would be like, if nobody's ever been charged, to reiterate another question, if they were charged, isn't one of the things that conservatives constantly is, oh my God, these are novel criminal charges?
Yeah, and wouldn't that be terrifying, because we would be admitting how fucked up it was that somebody tried to seize government. This is like Wile E. Coyote. This is like Wile E. Coyote. I haven't told you 20 fucking that shit. Oh my God. Okay, this is like Wile E. Coyote walking out over the fucking ledge and looking down. We don't want to admit how bad fucking January 6th was, because it would admit that some fucking dickhead tried to fuck up our republic after 200 years of fucking existence. And what was it, like 165 fucking years since the Civil War or some shit? We would have to admit that somebody tried to take power for themselves and didn't give a fuck about the republic. We don't want to admit that a fucking $20 trillion Trump, a $20 trillion fucking GDP was almost hijacked by a fucking buffoon with a fucking tan who likes to fuck whores. We didn't want to admit that shit to ourselves.
No, but he thought he was saving the republic, so it's actually all right, you know.
Well, no.
One out of
fuck
three
that.
things
Because, no, hey, fuck that. There were people around Trump. There are people who were at January 6th who thought they were saving the republic. As a matter of fact, I would say probably 90 to 95% of the people who participated in January 6th did believe they were saving the republic. I think that fucking Trump, though, if he didn't know, then he's self-deluding, which is even scarier, because he had high up, intelligent, legal professionals over and over and over again saying that your case is based on bullshit. Every single time that we looked into it, it's based on smoke and fucking mirrors. You don't have anything. You have a fistful of fucking nothing. Okay? And he went for it anyways.
I want to bring something to the attention of Fabian real quick. I just want to just real quick. I just want to bring something to the attention of Fabian. So I found it, and there is a contemporaneous in 1859 book published in Western counties of Pennsylvania by Townsend Ward called "The Insurrection of the Year 1794," where and another one by H.M. Brackenridge, "The History of the Western Insurrection in Western Pennsylvania," commonly called a whiskey insurrection. These are contemporaneous in the 19th century, at the time of the framing of Section 3, where they're referring to the Whiskey Rebellion both as the whiskey insurrection and calling it an insurrection. So there's the evidence.
I mean, so that's not the evidence I asked for, but I mean, it's fine. I was just curious if you had the evidence. The evidence that I was asking for was when you stated that this was the desire of the
Didn't you ask that for contemporaneous evidence they would?
Look, I was just gonna say real quick.
I wasn't asking that the word.
Oh my God, Radical Coder. Let him go.
I just want to say one thing. I'm going to speak up finally. Yeah.
There we go.
Please.
As Good Logic put it, a simple man. And it just seems like on his face, like looking at the situation, looking at like I don't know the all the legal banter about whether or not it counts as an insurrection, whether or not we need people charged as an insurrection, like all this stuff. Like I don't know. I don't know if I care about any of that. It just seems like pretty obvious that like a lot of people there thought that they were overturning the results of an election, whether or not they agreed it was free and fair. It seems like they were specifically trying to do that. It seems like they were specifically egged on to do that by Donald Trump, who was lying about like that he won the election. It just seems like all of those things alone like paint like to me just a normie dude, like it seems pretty obvious that, like if insurrection fucking means anything, like that's at least an attempted one. In like I don't know.
Radical. So this is a very quick question. Very easy question. Very easy question, right? Thought experiment, right? Let's assume for the thought experiment, not in reality, let's assume that the same situation occurred, but all of the evidence was massively in favor that Joe Biden or some other president, right, had stolen the election, right? And like every single piece of evidence was in Donald Trump's favor, but they were still going to certify that election. I would say the stronger argument about the idea of insurrection, right, is the concept which was brought up by Good Logic, which I think was a much better argument that he had for it, which is that if the concept of insurrection is that you're supposed to be overturning the results of the election, as you put it, right? Well, if in the thought experiment, it is 100% a stolen election in the thought experiment, right? Not in reality, air quotes, right?
It's a good example.
And they're only marching for the appropriate legal processes to occur to make sure that the election isn't stolen, does it then become
It's a justified insurrection. It's just like the American Revolution. It's a justified insurrection. It's a morally justified insurrection. But just like the American Revolution was justified, it would still be an insurrection. Like
so when a Republican, so when a Democrat gets up in 2016 and says we shouldn't certify those votes, by your definition,
oh my God,
I'll tell you why. Because
the statement alone is not an insurrection. No,
he specifically said that if they think that if they're working within legal means to try to stop the transfer of power, that's what he's specifically.
Insurrection requires force or threat of force. That is not met in your example. So no, it wouldn't be seditious.
Sedition is also by force.
But if the people on January 6th, if the people on January 6th genuinely believe that the election was stolen, and they genuinely believe, and there is some legal argument, right? I know that you would say that there isn't one, but obviously,
okay, Fabian, we all agree with you. But the problem is you're arguing for the left now. We agree, but like whether you think it was justified or not, you're saying that basically it wasn't an insurrection, but it was a justified insurrection. That's still an insurrection.
No. I'm not talking about justified. What I'm saying is if the definition of insurrection requires that you're trying to stop a law from occurring, right? You're trying to stop something from occurring, as opposed to a rebellion, which is to overthrow the government. Right. If you're trying to and the Whiskey Rebellions fits this as well, right? Because you're trying to stop attacks. You're trying to stop people.
Stop enforcement. Yeah.
Right. Stop enforcement of a specific law. If you're there and you believe that you're trying to have your quote voices peacefully heard, or, you're part of the group that's fucking violently doing this. If your entire purpose is to get them to force them to follow the law, not break the law, but force them, in your opinion, to follow the law, which is to stop the certification because Texas v. Pennsylvania, for example, was shot down and all because of all of these other issues, right? And you believe that is what's going on. I don't know that it necessarily fits the definition of insurrection because you're not trying to overturn a law.
It's not even an argument. We shouldn't even waste time on this. It's vigilantism, what you're talking about. That's it, right? If you think, for instance, that there should have been no. It literally is. If you think that somebody should have been executed, they murdered somebody, you witnessed it, the courts failed to convict them, and you want to go and make sure that they're held to account for justice because you think that's real justice because the courts failed to deliver that justice, you're going to go kill that person, and that's really just you're just delivering what the court should deliver. That's vigilantism.
Which in this case, no. To make this analogous,
pressure public officials in order to follow the law is what he said.
Right. To make this analogous, it would be more like all of the evidence shows that person A murdered person B, and there's a trial going on, and the media and everyone in power is talking about, they're probably going to let this guy walk. They're going to let this guy walk. And let's say it's a serial killer or it's Epstein, for example. And then a bunch of people go to the courthouse and say, we all know all of the evidence shows it. Do your fucking job and make sure you convict Epstein or make sure you convict this murderer.
That's protest. That's fine. That's fine.
That's fine.
And then 2% of the people try to break into the courthouse and kill judges.
Yeah, they're trying to lynch. That's a lynching. That's an attempted lynching, and we don't allow that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on the pro-insurrection. I'm just trying to be fair to the argument.
No.
If there's like an unjust law, then that's the idea. That's like the American tradition. You break an unjust law.
It's not about an unjust law. It's not about an unjust law. It's about
enforcing the law as it should be.
Their protest.
Subjective beliefs. No. It's not about subjective beliefs. Everyone thinks that they're justified or legal. Like everyone will come up with an argument for why what they're doing is actually allowed and legal, and it's a citizen's arrest, and it's this or that. Everyone has those. So the definition of insurrection has never depended on one's subjective beliefs about the propriety, legality, formalities of the action they're doing. As I said before, and there's no response to this. The Civil War insurrectionists thought what they were doing was legal. They thought what they were doing was a defense of their country.
Not arguing against.
I want to come your way.
Why do you pretend there's no response when I gave you a response? I gave you a response. Like they were.
Wait. What is the response? Let them state it again. What is the response? Restate the response.
They were clearly engaging in what was obviously illegal activity when they fired on Fort Sumter.
They did not think so. They had legal justifications for it.
Well, you keep coming back to that word justification, meaning they're doing something that otherwise
you keep moving it into.
No. Their subjective belief at the time they're doing it is that what they're doing is legal and justified.
You can keep making the same empty argument.
Trying to push it into another place.
My point is, you're calling it that their justification, and the point that I'm making and that Fabian was making is that this is not a justification that we think that something wrong happened and we're justified in doing what we're doing.
You don't understand me.
Hold on. Fabian, I just want to unkink the stroke that's building in Fabian's brain and come his way a little bit. Okay. So I agree with you that 98% of the people, either through ignorance or whatever, if they believe that they were going to put protest and public pressure on people to follow the law, not break the law, those 98% of people on January 6th did not participate in the insurrection. However, what I'm going to say is that conservatives cope, and they say that the 2% that showed up with body armor, that had zip ties, that talked about hanging people, that broke in past cops with guns, that fucking hit cops in the head with fire extinguishers and flags, they pretend that 2%.
There's no way it's 2%.
No. They pretend that 2% either
The fire extinguisher thing never happened. That is such a bold-faced lie. I'm actually embarrassed for you that you brought that up. That is
because I didn't watch. Okay, hold up.
I think it did happen. It just wasn't. It was different.
I parasocially love you, but I'm just going to ask you an important question. When I watched an insurrectionist grab a door and intentionally close it on a cop's head and shoulder, or when I watched, when I watched another series of January 6ers beat someone in the head with metal flagpoles.
You specifically brought up a fire extinguisher because you know Brian Picnic was accused.
Is that substantively different? As a matter of fact, I'll ask you as a lawyer, I'll appeal to your expertise. Is that substantively different in charging?
Okay,
the real crux of the argument. No, fuck that. The real crux of the argument.
Hold on. I want a clear answer from Lauren.
You brought up fire extinguisher.
If somebody got hit in the head with a fire extinguisher, or if somebody got hit in the head with a metal flagpole, what would you charge that person with? Please answer the question.
You brought up fire extinguisher knowing that it was falsely reported.
By the way, it wasn't falsely reported. Wait. By the way, somebody was attacked with a fire extinguisher on January 6th.
That is incorrect. That is
a guy got 4 years in prison. He was sentenced last year for it. You're just he was attacked with a fire extinguisher. The guy got 4 years for it.
I don't even care. Let me be charitable.
That's the real crux of the argument, isn't it? Like that's the real crux of the argument is whether or not there were any fucking fire extinguisher attacks. Like,
even if I'm right, let's pretend I'm wrong.
His name was Robert Stanford. That was the guy who attacked with a fire extinguisher.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Two separate incidents.
Let's pretend
they're two very separate incidents. You are wrong. Okay, it's easy to pretend that you're wrong because you are.
You don't even
jokes on you guys.
What incident I was talking about?
You just said somebody was attacked with a fire extinguisher and then jumped on it and assumed it was Brian Sicknick. You just didn't know.
Stop. Oh my God, we waste so much time on like irrelevant words. Okay? Whether or not Counterpoint says right or wrong, I think what he's saying is he saw videos of people attacking cops. Some with weapons, some with not. We saw that. Continue from there. Okay. Whatever they attacked him with. Okay.
Yeah, but did they have a fire extinguisher?
I'll continue from there. I'll make this point. The big difference.
You're continuing when we haven't finished.
You know what?
Let me finish.
I'll let you finish.
You're edging me.
On this fire extinguisher.
Stop edging me. Lauren, if somebody hit another human being with a fire extinguisher, or if somebody hit somebody with a metal pole, what would you charge them?
Well, it depends if they saw it happening or not. If they saw it happening, then I would charge them with assault. And if it actually was success on contact, then I'd probably charge them with battery. If they didn't see it happening, then I would just charge them with battery.
Okay, so if a fire, so then let's say that the fire extinguisher or the metal pole, because both of these items can reasonably cause serious injury, what would you charge them with if they cause serious injury?
In theory,
I mean, it depends. It depends. There's
depending on jurisdiction, but we would probably charge them with aggravated battery, right?
You could do aggravated battery.
Depending on jurisdiction.
I don't know.
Depending on jurisdiction. Okay.
I would say maybe attempted homicide or or manslaughter.
This is my point. I am getting to my point, and then I'll shut the fuck up for 10 minutes so you guys can talk. A metal pole and a fire extinguisher are both capable of causing the same injury. I don't give a flying fuck if some of the J6ers used a metal pole instead of a fire extinguisher. My point still stands.
The reason that is purposely deceptive, though, is because the fire extinguisher was used to talk about specifically for the murder of Brian Sicknick. That
You're
did not
presuming-
happen,
you're
and no
presuming
January 6er
malintent.
murdered. Hold on, no January 6er murdered a Capitol officer, and so for you to elicit that specific event, knowing that it's
No, he
false,
didn't.
purposely.
He just said somebody was attacked with a fire extinguisher, and someone was. You don't know what event he was talking about.
Let me clear this up.
hold on.
Let me clear this up. You said you were going to shut up.
You and
literally said you were
Pisco,
gonna stop for 10 minutes.
you and Pisco,
What did I do?
have presumed that I lie. I haven't fucking lied in the past 4 years of being a
Not
part
me.
of Twitch politics. Don't presume I'm lying. Presume I'm stupid or misinformed. Thank you.
I take back when I called you a
No,
liar.
so hold on. Listen,
I feel like I
very
just
quick.
got to hear the right wing equivalent of 4 beheaded babies, but okay.
Okay, hold on, stop. So the problem here is what you were doing is you're not equivocating, sorry. What you are doing is you are introducing that a certain portion of people, you say 2%, the percentage isn't necessarily, it could be 1%, it could be 5%, right? Are violent, right? And then what you're saying is that since that group was violent, this is insurrection. The problem with that is that the violence isn't the key factor that I was discussing. The key factor that I was discussing is, are they there on January 6th, right? Do they have mens rea, right? Not actus reus of doing all the bad things, right?
But that's required. That is required, though.
Right. Do they have the thought that the reason they're committing this violence is to go in and stop these people from doing something legal? And so the fact that there is violence, right? Plenty of these people that were violent could have been. There was a when you look at
Fabian, wait to create that list. Fabian, can you answer this question?
No,
because we all agree. Violence is not enough. We agree. We need the intent.
Dude,
Violence is not enough. We need the
every
intent.
time I start to make a fucking
Because
point,
you don't make the point. You're gonna ramble for 5 minutes just to say that. Oh, just because they did violence doesn't mean they were the right.
Pisco has rambled it like this whole goddamn
All
time.
right, let's see if he does something different. Let's see if he does something different. Go ahead.
I'm very quick. Look, when you look at the initial breaches, when you look at how these things occurred, and then when you look at individuals that were stuck there, and the police were supposed to use LRADs and things of that nature to tell them to leave and give them egress to leave.
You're not going to blame the cops here. You're not going to badmouth these cops that defended our democracy.
I don't give a fuck.
Oh, God.
Get the fuck off. Listen,
I let
I'm almost talking.
Counterpoint finish.
Just stop interrupting me.
Oh,
just stop interrupting me. And let me listen. The fact that the situation turned violent, there are many ways that you can describe why the situation turned violent, but that does not pertain necessarily to whether or not the intent applies for them to overturn a legal proceeding.
Justice Summary was completely correct. Justice Summary was completely correct. You just rambled on and the same exact thing.
He does it every fucking time.
100%. And you're not going to blame or do a little, cute way the cops for the violence inflicted upon them. Okay, the cops are not responsible. The insurrectionists are, and
yes, they are.
Okay, wait, we understand that. Okay, cops, yes, good and bad. Okay, Fabian hates cops. Pisco hates cops. Good logic. You were going to say something. Go.
I can put a bow on this. Counterpoints was just pointing out that he's like, perhaps 98% of them are not insurrectionists and 1 or 2% are insurrectionists. And for that, now we're sitting here and we're looking at the entire event and saying, should we label this an insurrection? In that scenario, we have 1 or 2%, let's say, who are arguably committing insurrection and 98% who are not. And I think what seems most logical is to look at how the crowd reacted to those attempts at violence, to see what the overall objective of the crowd was. And what we saw time and again was them being stopped and yelled at, saying, that's not us, that's not what we do, we don't attack cops. We saw that over and over again, which is a reflection of what the crowd thought, which is, we don't want to be committing crimes here. We want to do this lawfully.
It's a lot more mixed than you're suggesting.
That's a 2-hour fight with cops in the fucking tunnel, and we saw like a Proud Boy asking a cop if he could go past, and he called her a fucking dog if she said no.
Hold on, I'm so sorry. Rather than engaging on this point, good dialogue. That has literally nothing to do with any of this. If they went and they killed every single cop, it still might not have been an insurrection. Maybe they just wanted to kill cops and leave. If they went in and they didn't kill a single cop or attack a single cop, it still could have been insurrection. No part of our definition requires violence against cops. I don't think it has any part of it.
No, the point is it committing violence. The point is how they felt about committing violence. And
yes, but no, but it's not about
much more.
It's not about. Hold on, it's not about violence. It's to what end the violence is to accomplish. And when we were trying to determine that,
violence for insurrection.
What did Pisco fall back on over and over again? He's like, what did Pisco fall back over and over again when we talk about insurrection? That it's that there's an element of violence to it,
or threat of force.
Because we were talking about
cops. And
just specify cops.
He was saying that was necessary but not sufficient, and he's not saying violence against anything. We all agree that
element is missing. As far as when we're assessing the crowd, that element must be missing, even if 1 or 2%.
No. Hold on. No. The violence. No.
When it was violent, the crowd was trying to stop them.
Stop.
You don't know that.
When we talk about violence, stop. When we talk about violence, okay, things like breaking an entry is a form of violence. It's violence against the Capitol with the goal of disrupting the process of the election.
Riots get violent.
Yes,
and become insurrections. Yes, and that's
what was the goal?
Yeah, the goal is that they were trying to delay the stop the execution.
The goal was to fight for Trump. Listen. You guys are like,
did you just
we live in this crazy. We live in this crazy. Stop. I'm talking. Fabian. We live in this crazy world. We live in this crazy world. Hang on a second. I never have been part of the diluted opinion of good logic that a subjective belief about the lawfulness or propriety of what's going on somehow is an excuse. Whatever your framework is bullshit.
Guys, stop talking over each other, please.
Yo, let me finish. So
I don't have to have you restate what my opinion is for the purpose.
Okay, but not anyone who would say that, not good logic specifically, has a much smarter way to approach it. Okay, so it's not about the we know what these people wanted, right? These people were fighting for Trump. These people were trying to stop the steal. That is, in their opinion, stop the certification of votes. Whether they thought it was justified or not, you guys are sitting here talking about Joe Biden's intent from calling his son. And we know it was to facilitate these deals and to corrupt the country. But when people are literally admitting on live television what they want to do, you will not accept it at face value that was their specific intent.
And I want to add to this, the 95% or the 98%, whatever number that we want to lie on, they are basing their actions on a false belief that is intentionally planted by the sowers of the violence. So the people they know that they're full of shit, and yet they're choosing to actively say it. Logic, please challenge me on this. Tell me that Trump didn't know or should have known that he was going to lose these appeals if it got kicked back to the states. Please tell me that. I would love to hear it.
Which appeals? What does that mean?
Okay, he wanted to send the electors back to the fucking states.
Before we even get to the electors plot, I'm just so curious. Okay, 'cause this would never stand in any left-leaning march. Okay, if they were marching saying kill white people or genocide white people or transgender, blah blah blah, we would all know what they mean. There would be no guessing. Okay. I'm so curious.
Bullshit. No, fuck that. Not on 10-7 from the river to the sea and all that shit. Lefties are a bunch of fucking F slurs.
Yeah, and people are accusing them of being pro-genocide. That's what do you think all the Jewish people and all the other people on the other side are accusing them of doing? Is they're saying these are genocidal like slurs.
Right? Point.
Are we saying that the left is better at policing?
What happened?
I'm not. I didn't say that. No, stop. I'm saying that. I'm saying that politically, if this was another group of people, okay, if it was a group of black people marching, making a chant like this, right? Go home or go back to Europe or whatever. At the Whitey, we tell you, okay, we obviously know what their intent is, right? So I'm curious when you have a crowd full of people and they're chanting things like 1776, hang Mike Pence, stop the steal. Okay, we all agree that 1776. We all agree that 1776. How did the crowd react? They broke into the Capitol. Hold on. They broke into the Capitol. Hold on. Stop. One person started screaming, "Fed," baked Alaska, and he literally ran into the building. So that's the worst example ever you could use. Okay, number one. Number two, when you say how did the crowd, you say how did the crowd?
Said you had to go.
We're not talking about the night.
We're not talking about Ray.
We're talking about the day.
Number two,
attacking brave hero Ray Epps.
100,000 people weren't in the Capitol because of Ray Epps. Not a single person cited Ray Epps as the reason they went into the building. Okay, so the question is when the people were chanting 1776, they were chanting "Hang Mike Pence."
Who did they say they were there for?
Saying stop the steal. What is the goal of this? What is the goal of that?
To stop the political process.
What is the goal?
100%. Anyone who denies that.
No, I want the answer. What is the goal?
The goal is to encourage Mike Pence to show his spine.
And
to show us and cancel the election. Look at your characterization. You said to show us spine.
And I'll tell you something. You asked me what my source is for Mike Pence to do.
No, wait. No one cares. Wait, don't do this, Wing. When you said Mike Pence show a spine, what do you mean Mike Pence show a spine? To do what?
For him to recognize the alternate slate of electors and send it back to the states.
The fake fraudulent electors.
For him to overturn the election, right?
Sorry, what was there were two more people talking.
It was for him to overturn the election, right?
Well, it's not overturn the election because he'd be sending it to the states.
Certification.
You don't even know the corrupt legal theories that were being promoted in your honor, since you're, I guess you're MAGA, or I guess you support what Pence was sort of encouraged to do, which is show a spine. They weren't going to send it back to the states. They were going to send it to the House delegation.
I appreciate it. Yes, I appreciate that. That's true. Actually, let's say we forget about that. Let's say we forget all that. Let's say we forget all that. Okay, they wanted him to send it back. Okay, but he decided
the House delegations, which is the states.
Yes. Well,
no, it's not. It's federal representatives in Congress. There's no input from the state governments.
Yes, but also,
oh my gosh, what a ridiculous! Why do you have to false frame everything I say when you're trying to twist what I'm saying? When I say send it back to the states, that's what it means.
The states. That's not the members of federal Congress. Well, states mean a certain thing, you know?
Yeah, well, you seem to be really confused for someone who's an attorney, because when we talk about representatives in Congress, that's called the states.
When I talk about states, I'm talking about state government and the states, not the representatives of Congress.
Well, maybe that's why you should stop trying to put words in my mouth, because clearly you struggle.
I'm using the words.
Okay, wait. Also, wait. Hold on. Wait. I'm so sorry. Hold on. When we talk about send them back to the states, we're talking about voting. Nobody is talking about Congress. That's
no, not in the constitutional perspective.
Yeah, so when you say send it back to the states,
we're talking about the 12th Amendment. That's what we're talking about here.
Pence was never sending anything back to the states. He was sending it back to Congress.
For crying out loud. 12th, have you looked at the 12th Amendment? Do you remember anything about what was happening in December and January 2020?
Yes, we did.
Into early 2021.
We do remember.
Well, clearly then you seem to have forgotten that the whole conversation was that there was more states that had a plurality of red seats, and there was an expectation that if neither Biden nor Trump were able to get 270, that it would be sent back to the states, meaning the House of Representatives, the delegates from the House. That's what, and they called it every single time, send it back to the states. That's
they had Plan B, they had Plan C, they had Plan D, but the main plan was first.
Let them go. Let them go. They're the contestants. Okay, go ahead, Pisco.
The main plan,
version of stupidity.
The main plan was to get Vice President Pence just to declare victory. Number one, that's not sending back to the states. The second, Plan B was if someone if someone complained, they would just send it to the House of Representatives. Because guess what? The Constitution doesn't specify the states decide. The states already decided. The states sent their electors.
Even on that, because we don't have much time left. Wait, real quick, because we're talking about the intention of the crowd, and we don't have too much time left. But I just want to hone in on this, okay? So let's say that I'm agreeing with everything you're saying so far, okay? They were trying to get Mike Pence to stand up. Maybe they even thought it was legal. Maybe do something skeptic is legal. Maybe we grant all of that, okay? When Pence failed, Donald Trump tweeted that Pence failed, okay? Pence didn't stand up for us. Why didn't the crowd go home then? What did they continue to protest for?
Well, in the Capitol, I'm sure they were unable to get cell service there.
No, everybody knew. Hold on, stop.
They're announcing his tweets on a bullhorn.
So when the crowd continued to protest,
everyone inside the Capitol heard what's going on in the bullhorn, right? That's what's obviously.
People can pass the message around.
Oh my God! Yes, they were literally live streaming. Don't think that have a perception, okay? The crowd continued to protest. The crowd continued to protest. What was the goal after Pence failed?
What was the first tweet?
What do we think the goal was?
138. The first tweet at 138, which was. He ended his speech.
None of these tweets are going to save you. None of these are going to save. These
please
first tweets
support
do not
our
help.
Capitol Police and law enforcement. They are truly on the side of our country. Stay peaceful. That was the very first thing.
Please gamble responsibly.
He'd already gotten reports. Yes. He'd already gotten reports of violence there.
And he didn't ask them to come back and to stop violence. He said, "Stay peaceful." The implication being that you already were peaceful.
The riot wasn't officially declared until 1:49.
Oh my God!
I'm sorry. Okay, this is my last thing, and then you guys could debate about it. This is confusing.
The riot wasn't declared. Doesn't mean there wasn't already violence. Fucking hell, man! There was already violence. Doesn't mean it was declared officially.
It's the easiest causal chain of events ever. Okay, Donald Trump says
you're looking back as if with like you're looking back as what you see now after tons and tons of videos, investigations.
No. Yes, the whole world watched this. It was all live streamed. Donald Trump is on Twitter. We're all watching it on national TV, bro. This was not a secret fucking event.
22 minutes of his speech ended.
You're not going to gaslight us.
Okay? I'm not gaslighting you.
You're literally gaslighting. You're pretending like this was happening under cover of darkness, like nobody had any idea what was going on.
We knew what was happening. We knew what we needed.
This is like very clearly. Okay, Donald Trump
happening under cover of darkness. What I'm saying is that it's chaotic and that nobody really knows all of what we know now.
Newscasters were crying on the air asking Trump to say something.
So the first thing he says
crying, saying, "Trump, do something. Do something. Get on the phone." Trump should have gone on the phone and said, "Hey, can I help out? I know our thing's under attack. Can you do something?" He had a duty. He had a duty to defend the Capitol, and he failed us. And he fucked us over when he was responsible for the defense of our nation. And he did not do what he was supposed to do. And you're sitting here defending it, and you're sitting here blaming Ray Epps.
If he would have sent in,
you're not getting away with this like what we didn't know at the time. Like between 2 and 3 p.m., people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Laura Ingraham, Mulvaney, fucking Trump, Donald Trump Jr. They were all saying
he has to come out and say something strong.
Fucking Ivanka, they were all saying Trump is not doing enough to call this off. He should be able to give a forceful statement, and he didn't.
And while he was not doing that, we
even said stay peaceful isn't enough.
We had Mike Pence, thankfully, actually showing that he does have a backbone, that he does have a spine, and he did protect our country.
Mike Pence, and that day was an American patriot.
Mike Pence, this is like, it's just so clear. Like Trump says, our election is being stolen. The crowd goes to the Capitol and they riot there. He says that Mike Pence can save us, and then they don't. They say, hang Mike Pence. They're chanting 1776. They break into the Capitol building. They protest and riot, and then they end up delaying the certification of the vote. And then finally... No, I'm not selecting anything.
Who's they say? You say they say hang Mike Pence.
Jews,
not
the mob,
all of the people outside.
The
ones that brought the
insurrectionists,
guillotine and had the play guillotine outside. Yes, they did.
Like
And at the very end,
protest,
at the very end,
every Obama protest, there were guillotines.
At the very end,
little miniature figures.
That's great. At the very end, they managed to delay the vote, which was, it seemed like the goal the entire time. So they had a goal from start to finish. They literally effected the goal at the end. How can we look at that whole event from start to finish and go, well, it all just evolved organically and happened by accident, even though that was Donald Trump's plan from the very beginning?
But okay, can I also
from the very beginning was to have a fucking a shit show of a fucking of an insurrection.
A coup. That was the goal. Yes.
Nobody showed him armed.
If it was his goal from the beginning, why did he offer 1,000 troops to Pelosi?
No, that's a lie, Lauren. That's a lie.
It is not a lie.
It is a lie.
Just because Pelosi said it didn't happen,
Source
it's
it.
kind of
Wait.
But I believe Trump over Pelosi. You could believe Pelosi over Trump. But then again, even if it's not Pelosi, how about Miriam Bowser? Miriam Bowser.
All right, let's take
extra.
Okay, Lauren, let's this is real easy. This will be a real exchange. Can you name the only request to the National Guard before January 6th? Who made the only request to the DoD?
Bowser.
Bowser was the only one who actually requested.
No, Bowser turned away guards. Bowser was offered guards and then turned them away.
Wrong. False.
3 days before she turned them away, and then during the attack, she was offered again, and then she was given them.
Lauren, false. On December 31st, that was the first. I read the entire DoD report.
Okay, I don't care. Read it again. You're wrong.
Have you read the DoD report on the causality?
Stop, just make the point. Don't answer if you read anything. Just make the point.
So, Lauren, you haven't read it, and the true chronology here.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
You don't know shit about the situation, and you're lying.
You really don't know shit about the situation.
Just cite your argument. Don't say it's just lie. Just cite it. Say what you're saying.
The only RFA made to the DoD was made by Mayor Bowser on December 31st. The DoD was considering denying that RFA. And it was for 300 or 400 troops, exactly. Mayor Bowser has exactly 0 operational control of the DoD. She can't deny the DoD presence. She has to actively request it, and she did actively request it. And so you framing it as though there were an offer of troops. There was no offer of troops, and you're lying when you say that there was.
Okay, stop.
Anyway.
Okay, stop. Thank you for the last take, Pisco. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have reached the end of Kick or Keep. Soon there will be a poll in chat to select the winner, because listen, we didn't eliminate anybody, but there will be a winner for episode 24 of Kick or Keep, and that winner gets to walk away with 500. So again, listen, your efforts will be rewarded, or at least one of you. Also, apparently, listen, Good Logic has 2 minutes to live. I don't know how to interpret that fucking message, so I don't know. Listen, I'm wishing you all the best, but listen, stick around because you might be the winner.
I wanted to thank you. In this crowd, there's no one on the right who's ever going to be a winner, but that's okay. I had a great time. I really enjoyed your company. Even those of you who are arguing with me, I want to apologize to Dylan because I was a little rude to him when I referred to him as a simple man. I apologize to you for that. I shouldn't have done that. I had a response, and I had a response that I wanted. Man. And a beautiful simple man. and Radical, I actually, you said something earlier that I wanted to respond to. I don't remember what it was, but I want you all to know I appreciate having these debates to the extent that they're made in good faith. you know, I think 7 out of 8 of us here are having a good faith debate. Not going to name any names, you know, that might rhyme with Lisco or anything like that.
Okay.
I'm just playing around. I really had a great time, and I want to thank you. I look forward to being on more panels like this in the future, irrespective of whether I finish them first or last. That's not what it's about. It's about having a good time and sharing thoughts and exchanging ideas. And I appreciate you guys giving me the courtesy of your time and your attention. So, salute, and I thank you so very much.
So
Nice meeting you.
Godspeed.
Lil Steve, tell us how's the poll looking? Tell us how's the poll looking? Is it super close like the 23 other
Oh,
episodes?
it's not close.
Yeah, we have the rigged fan favorites are dominating the poll right now.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. We've discussed how this is
We need an
always the case
insurrection.
when it comes to these type of votes. Like, if you want, me and you could like choose the winner between me and you. You know what I mean? We could do that if you want. We could.
You can't change
There's
the
nev-
rules
there's never a way to do these.
halfway through. That's like a total Democrat thing to do. That's why the conservatives are
Didn't we
mad
just
about
have like
Wait,
a
isn't that what
3-hour
Trump
debate about a
wanted?
guy trying to change the vote halfway through? Was that what
They would
No,
just
I mean,
stop the steal and give me the rightful title.
Listen,
I think
radical
Dylan
deserves
Burns.
it, like,
I think Dylan Burns will agree with me that there's really no right way to do it. Like
Yeah.
no matter what you do, you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, the only way that you could
You just
really
do what makes you the most money.
is if you did a vote. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could do a vote in the beginning and then a vote at the end, and even that'll be rigged. But it'll just come down to a clout contest for most things. And then if you have a panel of judges, everyone will always attack you for being biased, no matter what you do.
honestly, no, Fabian, you're
Demon
my,
Mama and
you know what I mean?
Creationist Cat
You
need to get
deserve
in
the
here.
W in my end. You know what I mean? Because you 1v10, 1v9, 1v all. You know, even the host was coming at you. This host, disgustingly biased. You know what I mean? I'm talking about Liz Steve. He was disgustingly biased.
I'm a libertarian. I go against everybody all the time. You're all fucking social.
No chats, I didn't vote, but if you want to, there's the vote in the YouTube chat. Somebody put it in the side chat, that'd be cool too. Wanted to vote in the straw poll. Sure, I'll vote for myself, why not?
However, you didn't like.
Lauren, I'm not winning, dipshit. I'm not winning. I'm not winning.
No, I don't so one, but
I
you
mean,
still got second.
State
No,
your
I said
case,
the
I don't know,
winner is the
maybe-
most reflective. I'm second because people like me. That's it.
No,
Look at
But
that.
Pisco won because he's good.
Dude, you farmed content on this one.
Oh my God,
Let's
this
be
is
honest.
retarded. I'm okay.
I know you're right. If only we'd gone to the bottom of how many fire extinguisher attacks there were, that would have flipped everything, wouldn't it?
Yeah, zero.
I mean, if you guys had
That's
a
all I
passionate
wanna know.
speech, you might have won. Honestly, if you had a passionate speech towards the end of the show, you know what I mean. You might have swayed.
At least let me beat counterpoints. Come on.
Call
Started
it on
passing
like
his speech, but Destiny had to stop me. You
Yeah,
know?
I saw that.
Can't let
Kinda
a libertarian say anything.
Look, all I care
Fucking
about is
people
beating
realize that
counterpoints. That's
Democratic
all.
Socialism is fucking retarded.
Huh?
What?
What?
Huh?
Listen, I should have won that 9/11.
Quality, not
fucking
quantity.
meme is all right.
Okay. Are we just gonna be
I had,
sitting
like,
here
3
talking about why
bangers
each of
tonight.
us should have won? If so, I'm gonna go. So my name's Lauren. Thanks for having me here. Had a great time. I do interviews. I love the law and math. Peace.
My name is Connor. I love Counterpoints I love Counterpoints 40K where I do science fiction bullshit. So go ahead and check that shit out. Also, I should have won because I had like 3 fucking solid banging ass fucking memes. Pisco over here, he called me a fucking liar twice. I think I said fuck you like 18 times. I offered to make out with him. I did a 9/11 fucking analogy with Lauren earlier. I did the fucking fire fucking extinguisher bullshit and I didn't lose my cool. I did good memes. You know, the fact that DGG is voting against me is fucking, it's all bullshit because I hate Hunter Biden. So, you know, fuck you guys.
Based.
W. That's a W. Thank you for coming on, guys.
License your
Listen,
plate.
at this point, clearly, I'm gonna go ahead and announce it. Congratulations, Pisco, for being the winner of episode 24 of Kicker Team. Guys, don't be
Knew
sore
you had
losers.
it in
Please
you.
clap. Thank you. You deserve that.
Congratulations.
Okay?
Noise gate.
fucking
I'm gonna
asshole.
tell you.
Hold on,
Okay,
Pisco.
now everybody else, shut yourself out and fucking skedaddle. You know what I mean? Go ahead, please. One at a time. Shot your socials and all that good stuff before you leave the call.
I'll go
Unless you want to
quickly.
stay here or something.
Connor, Counterpoints 40K. Go check it out. Science fiction, political philosophy, all that shit is on there. Counterfire's linked down in the description for politics shit. Parasocial love to you and yours. I genuinely love this lineup and all of you here. So thank you.
W man's W. Okay. Next person, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Dylan Burns. I'm a war journalist and Twitch streamer. You can find me on Dylan Burns TV on YouTube. That's my main channel. DylanBurnsLIVE on YouTube. That's where I post my stream content. And I hope everybody keeps an eye out for a documentary I'm going to be releasing hopefully later this month, following artillerymen as they serve near the front. Hope you all have a good one.
Hey, real
Take
quick
care.
question before you go, Dylan.
Yeah.
Are both demonetized right now currently, or is it just the TV one?
That's the strange thing. My second channel was the channel that makes most of YouTube rev. That's the one that's been demonetized for 4 months for harassment. But my main channel, which is my like passion project for journalism, which actually doesn't make money, that's the one that's still monetized, even though it has war footage on it.
Which one is that?
My main channel, DylanBurnsTV.
Dylan, okay, so if you're gonna watch and you don't have the time to watch live streams, make sure you check out that one specifically.
Yes.
You know, and watch some ads.
So I can get 5 cents. I appreciate it. Anyway, thank you guys.
Love you
You
later.
guys have a good one. Bye bye.